Welcome in, everyone, to the Football Addicts Anonymous podcast. As always, got Mark and Chris here. Yeah, fun weekend, y'all. We had first week 0 college football. We got through that. Got 5 games to recap. We got the all the week 3 final preseason week to look at as well. You know, we'll get through all the NFL news going on, and then we'll finish up with our NFL awards predictions and previewing the college games going on Wednesday and Thursday. So let's get to it. We actually have football that counts.
All I got to say is there was a theme in college football this weekend.
From now until the second week in February, we have football that counts. Actually, I should say that. I should say, I don't know what the actual schedule is yet, but probably all the way up until May, we're going to have football that counts. I'm counting, we'll be talking XFL.
We'll be talking
XFL. Hell yeah.
Rocked, baby, the rock.
All right, let's get it rolling. First game of week 0, Illinois taking down Nebraska 30-22. And I said it on Friday. Scott Frost unfortunately didn't get fired like I said he would after Illinois beat them. Unfortunately, I didn't make a bet on it. But key storyline in this one, Brandon Peters gets hurt in the first quarter. Artur Sikowski comes in and plays lights out. I mean,
he's transferred. I think he was the Rodgers transfer.
I don't know. He's a freshman. I know that.
I'm pretty sure he was. That was the unique thing about it. I'll look it up. You guys talk.
Yeah, I believe he's a redshirt freshman or sophomore.
Yeah, he did. He transferred from Rutgers.
Rutgers, yeah. Yep.
I thought that was, that's Rutgers obviously got better the last few years, but you don't think a Rutgers transfer is going to come in and beat a Nebraska program. And I told you I wasn't going to talk a lot, so we're not on here until 9 p.m. about the NCAA. The theme this weekend in college football to me where nothing was close. Even though it says 30-22 game, I mean, Nebraska was ahead 9-2 at one point, and then the wheels just fell off. And the two things in Omaha that I would be worried about is mistakes. And that, if it's a recurring thing, that is on the coach. However you're practicing, they just don't have a big play talent. Does that make sense? Besides, I do think Martinez does everything he can. They don't have anybody on the roster that's overly talented.
Well, that's the thing they did. They did have Wan'Dale Robinson, but he left. He where did he go? Kentucky? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that was their guy. That was their playmaking threat.
I don't know why anybody would willingly transfer to Kentucky, but
especially with Terry Wilson gone now. But
it's just Stoops. I mean, he's got them playing better than they normally do.
But yeah, we saw definitely Adrian Martinez can't do it all himself. He was the leading rusher overall in the game with 111 yards. Granted, 75 was on one touchdown run. But that's even without that 75 yards, he still was the leading rusher for Nebraska.
I saw the most bizarre. I don't know if you guys watched this. Before we go, I have to say, it was the most bizarre, or maybe I don't want to use the word stupid. It was just out of character. Why would you do this? Nebraska, when they went down 2-0, he caught it in the end zone. Did you see that? It was on the kickoff, got tackled, and threw it out of the end zone, a forward pass. And my first instinction was, Nebraska is going to lose this 50-0 when I saw that. And to me, that's like, it's a coaching thing. I hate to say, like, if someone did that to me, I would have ran down the sideline and, like, would have been in their ear about it. But you didn't see anything on Nebraska sideline. People were just over there going, what just happened? And the fans and everybody watching, it was the weirdest thing ever.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really didn't think it was a safety, actually, because I thought the ball was out of the end zone when his knee was down. So I actually didn't think it was a safety necessarily, but that's not how they ruled it, obviously. And yeah, I mean, good job by Brett Bielema, though, getting his first win as Illinois' head coach.
He's been around. He's been at Wisconsin and Arkansas. He can coach.
It looks like Illinois threw in some trick plays there too, because obviously there in the middle of the stat sheet there is a quarterback getting a 45-yard reception. I mean,
yeah, I didn't like. I had the game on. I was doing some law school stuff, so I heard they're like, yeah, quarterback with the reception. But I didn't actually remember watching the play. And I checked. I was when I was going through the stats, I was like, well, he's Illinois' leading receiver. And I was like, well, is he actually a quarterback? But on their roster, it says he's a quarterback. So I have no clue. But yeah, feel bad for Adrian Martinez. Again, can't do everything by himself, unfortunately. Even with 343 total yards and 2 touchdowns, only 1 turnover. That ended up being the Calvin Hart 41-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown. So, also just to point out, Devon Witherspoon, 4 pass deflections to go along with 4 tackles there. Illinois cover plus 6.5, under 53. The unders ruled in 4 out of the 5 games in college. So, a lot of shaky offenses and blowouts with no help from the other teams getting points. All right, second game here. Fresno State rolling, shutting out UConn 45-0. I was happy about this. I live bet Fresno State minus 42.5. This was when I bet them. They were up 38-0 in the third quarter with 3:21 to go in the third. I was like, they got a whole fourth quarter and I only need to score 1 touchdown. So, and they only did score 1 more touchdown. I was like, dude, I actually got really annoyed because Logan Fife threw that pick in the red zone. And I was like, bro, that could have been the touchdown drive that would have covered for me. But luckily they did. So yeah, we knew this was coming. We knew UConn wasn't good. They haven't been good. I can't even ever remember when UConn was good, if they ever were.
I don't remember them ever being good at football. That's for sure. Yeah.
Were they ever good in the Big East, Mark?
They went to a bowl game 2 years in a row, and then their coach left. Gosh, I gotta look at it.
Yeah, because I don't recall too much of the Big East days. I do remember from the Big East when Pitt used to dominate, when the Big East was still together. But yeah, Jake Haener looked fantastic in this one. 331, 3 touchdowns. And my guy, I talked about him when we were previewing this game. Ronnie Rivers coming back for he took the extra year this year, and good for him. His receiving touchdown, what was it? 61, his 61-yard receiving touchdown. He is now the all-time leading touchdown scorer at Fresno State. So good for Ronnie.
2015 was the last bowl year for UConn. And before that, it was 2004. So I was wrong about 2 years. I wanted to say they went in 2009, but they didn't.
But yeah, really not much to say about this game. It wasn't close to start. I mean, the opening score of this game in the first quarter was a 31-yard fumble return for a touchdown by Aaron Mosby. So it's like the
But
thing that I was surprised though was the first half was close. The first quarter, I should say. It was only 7-0 after the first quarter. So,
for UConn though, obviously they didn't score any points. But did they like just never get close enough to the end zone to even attempt a field goal, or did they not, or did they miss the field goals, or what happened?
no, they got close to the 30 a couple times, and then they stalled
Went
out.
for
And
it.
like
Yeah.
I know at least once they were on the boundary of field goal range, and they went for it on fourth down because they were down like 31-0. So,
Well, yeah.
Officially, they were one for 3 on fourth down, 2 for 16 on third,
Jesus.
2.4 yards per pass, 1.1 yard per rush,
Gosh darn.
and 1 turnover.
No, but this just shows how much of a difference there is between the quarterbacks from the other game and this game. I mean, Jack, what's that, Zergiotis, or however you say it?
Yeah, Zergiotis.
Yeah, he completed 12 passes for 61 yards. But in the other game, the Nebraska quarterback also completed 12 passes, I think, but it was for like 200 and something yards.
16 for 232. Well, the Sikowski was 12 of 15 for 124 for Illinois.
But still, this has been a theme that I feel like we've been talking about for weeks now. These quarterbacks are doing these little chunk plays that don't go anywhere, and then they have so many completions for a little amount of yards.
Well, I think what's funny is we're going to find that to be true in some of the NFL preseason games as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But I will hand it to Fresno State. Who wouldn't love to throw for 331 and 3 touchdowns?
That's Fresno State for you, though. That's
confidence booster against a not very good team.
They've continued to run that type of offense since the Derek Carr days. And that's, like I said, like I was trying to get to too, is like that dink and dunk, that's some offenses, that's just how it is. So Fresno State covered minus 27.5, under 64. UCLA rolling over Hawaii 44-10. Now, y'all,
this is the one that hurt you.
Wrong. I was wrong. I admit it. I was horribly, horribly wrong. I did really think and believe that Hawaii could have stuck with them. And the thing is, if UCLA did not have a ground game in this game, this would have been so much closer, because the one thing I was right about is that Dorian Thompson-Robinson is not that great of a quarterback. 50% for 130 yards. Okay. He had one. His touchdown throw was his really only significant throw of the game.
I just second you on that one, like, not to repeat everything. I guess what I'm piggybacking off you is, like, everything you heard about this game was, well, this makes UCLA feel better about the Chip Kelly era, and it's getting off to a good start. What I would be scared of if I was like UCLA fans and alumni and the AD is, when you play a good Pac-12 team or a good LSU team, you have to have a better quarterback play. That is not good quarterback play. I don't care if it's the score is 44-10.
Yeah, and the thing is, their schedule involves every ranked Pac-12 team right now. Arizona State, Washington, Oregon, Utah, USC. All on the schedule. So, What I did like to see, though, Chevin Cordero played the majority of the game, even when it was out of hand. I still do really like Chevin Cordero. I think he's a fine quarterback. He's gonna get Hawaii to have a shot at the Mountain West. But yeah, Zach Charbonnet, though, amazing debut with UCLA, transferring in from Michigan.
17.7.
Yeah.
Love it.
It was just the Hawaii defensive line could not hold at all.
Was his mom the one that said, "Thank you, Michigan"?
I don't know. I have no clue.
There was some mom that said, "Thank you, Michigan, for letting us transfer." Or there was on Twitter or something. One of the moms said that.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed by Calvin Turner's stat line, but granted, Cordero was getting beat up all day, so he really didn't have a lot of chances to get Turner the ball. And unfortunately, on collegiate games on ESPN's app, they don't show targets. So I don't know how many targets he got. I would assume, though, it was in the double digits. Considering he threw 47 times.
Yeah.
All right. So here's a funny thing. It was Dorian Thompson, Robinson's mom, that said, "Thank you, Michigan, for letting Zach go." Which we just talked about, the running game helped the quarterback play. So I love it. I actually love that. She knows that her son got better because of that.
I don't care if I'm giving my pick away for Friday already, but I'm going to be so glad when we are back here next Monday and LSU has beaten the shit out of UCLA.
You better flag this for the first time. Mark Warren did not cuss first on this show.
That's because you didn't. Oh, did you start drinking, Mark?
My first sip.
But anyways, significant defensive performances. Obviously, Hawaii had the leading tackler because they're on the field the most. Darius Muasau, and tight end David Preby there for UCLA. He recovered the blocked punt in the end zone for a touchdown for the Bruins. UCLA covered minus 17.5, under 67. And what I was really mad about this game, though, is that I live bet UCLA minus 43.5, I think it was, when they were up 44-3. And I was like, dude, there was 11:20 to go. I was like, bro, like, all we got to do is hold Hawaii. At that point, I was rooting for UCLA. I was like, bro, just you've held them the whole game to 3 points. Just keep doing that and just get one more touchdown. It didn't seem like it was that difficult of a task. But all they did was run 3 plays and punt the ball. The last 3 drives they had. It's very frustrating, considering I lost all my other bets on this one because they all involved Hawaii. Okay. UTEP rolling over New Mexico State 30-3. I was excited. I had the UTEP spread in this one. So Gavin Hardison, so performance as the starter at UTEP. I didn't really think there was that much that big of a stat line, except Jacob Cowing had a career day, 5 for 158 and a touchdown receiving wise. And actually, I don't remember. Was that a guy I said about on Friday, Chris? I feel like I did because he's literally the only guy I really knew on the.
I don't know who said anybody specifically, but you did call this one being a blowout in UTEP's favor. But I don't know. I was expecting a little bit more on UTEP's side, though, I think.
UTEP had the pretty good running backs last year that we talked about like tandem. I think one graduated, but I have to just point out that the quarterback play for New Mexico State is just, guys, let's pick any word. Atrocious. 1 for 9, 8 for 24. It's like the Broncos last year when they had to go to the wide receiver. What is going on?
It's New Mexico State. I mean, I don't know what else to tell you. And no, Mark, they did not have that great of a running game. I mean,
was it UTS? One of the
UTSA.
UTSA.
UTSA has our guy Sincere. Sincere's at UTSA.
I'm not a perfect person. I'm only 99.1% always right. Sorry.
But yeah, Deion Hankins is a redshirt or a sophomore this year returning. He was their leading rusher, 592 yards last year. Like I said, other than Cowing's performance, there wasn't really anything that popped out. It's kind of crazy, though, that he had 158 of the 240. He had 5 of the 11 completions from Hardison.
I bet you his targets were maybe 7 or 8 of those, too.
Yeah. Because they only 4 people caught balls for UTEP. Cowing caught 5. Garrett
game, so sorry.
Justin Garrett caught 4. Quadraz Wadley caught 1, and then Walter Don Jr. caught 1 as well. So, and defensively, there wasn't really. Probably Donovan King for New Mexico State, 1.5 tackles for loss, and a QB hurry. But yeah, there wasn't anything really for UTEP defensively. That's why I put praise on there, because he had a sack, tackle for loss, and a quarterback hit hurry. UTEP covered -9.5, under 60. San Jose State blowing out Southern Utah 45-14. And I was surprised when I looked at this. I did not know Nick Starkel had returned for another season, which changes my Mountain West rankings a little bit, because I think I had them 3rd in their division. But with Starkel back, I think they're definitely 2nd now. I still love Nevada in the West Division, but I think San Jose State's 2nd now instead of 3rd.
This is the only game that hit over, I think, right?
Yeah, thanks to Southern Utah.
There goes the yardage that we were talking about earlier. This is an experienced quarterback that came back, 394 yards on 16 completions, 4 touchdowns. I bet you his 1 touchdown, I didn't watch this one either, didn't get to. I bet you his 1 interception was he was just threading the needle because he knew that he could, or just at that point in the game didn't care.
Yeah, so he threw for his touchdowns came from 23, 70, 65, and 14.
Well, he probably didn't even play the 4th quarter. No, he might have. I don't know.
No, because their last touchdown was with 9:45 to go in the 3rd quarter. So, but yeah, again, like I said, they have a lot back, and with Nick Starkel, they're gonna definitely give Nevada a run, because Tyler Nevins is back at running back. Derek Adese at tight end is back. Braddock at the wide receiver position. I mean, when I was going through the stats of this game, because I didn't watch it either, I was out with some friends. So I remember all these guys from last year with San Jose State. And I was like, oh my God, they have all these guys back. It's like, holy shit.
They could win it. They could win this.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. Like I said, I'm just fanboying over Carson Strong.
Were they all, I guess, I mean, Starkel was a senior, wasn't he? Is he using that extra year of eligibility?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch. I have to keep an eye on them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. San Jose State covered minus 28. It was a close one. It was 28 got Southern Utah to 42. It got close there. Imagine if Southern Utah would have covered, dude. That would have been crazy. And then the over 58 also close by one.
Just barely. Yep.
All right, let's go to NFL preseason week 3 here.
Week 3.
Starting off on Friday's games.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Colts going undefeated in the preseason, Lions going winless, 27-17. And my favorite thing from this game, I didn't watch it because I was trying to watch the Eagles and the Steelers play. Rodrigo, dude, they waived Eddie Pinheiro on I think Thursday, and he's like, "Hell yeah, boys! I'll just go 4 for 4 on field goals and win us the game."
He's a great dude. He would have been one of the best. I know he's in the NFL now, but he would have been one of the best name, images, and likenesses, like a college player, because it would have been so regional, so YouTube-ish. But good for him that they waived Pinheiro and he played well. And I mean, I guess the big story from this, right? The Colts beat the Lions, and Sam Erlinger gets injured, ACL knee joint injury, 5 to 6 weeks, I believe. I'm sure we'll talk about that later.
We're getting there later.
But I mean, does that mean Carson Wentz needs to step up, or is Eason starting the first game?
No, Carson will start week 1.
And that's the only thing that I think is intriguing from this game.
Well, because Carson was back at practice this week already, like
Right.
There's no way he doesn't. He had 3 weeks to recover to get ready.
But if you go with Chris's philosophy, then he's going to be out in the second quarter.
Yeah, but I think that Eason is perfectly capable. I think he showed it throughout the preseason. I think he's capable of taking over if necessary.
The thing
And
is
that's a discussion that not that only that we're having, but obviously the Colts are having.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, their schedule is rough, though.
It is.
First 5 games:
Travel.
Seahawks, Rams, at Tennessee, at Miami, at Baltimore. That's their first 5. Pretty much everyone has a good defense except the Seahawks and Titans. 3 out of the 5 are really good defense.
When I look at that schedule, who's better off are the Colts better off playing Carson Wentz no matter what, so they don't give draft compensation, or do you say, man, we have such a tough schedule, if Carson's not 100%, then let's get a better draft pick on our end?
I don't think that's a conversation you have week 1.
Not week 1. But you can be 0-4 or 0-3 in the first 3 or 4 weeks.
I think Carson would have to get re-injured in order for Jacob Eason to play. That's the only way.
I'll back you up on that.
And I was actually intrigued by Brett Hundley in this game.
I thought he played well.
Yeah, passing, he was not good at all. But rushing the ball, he did very well using his legs. And that's what athletic young quarterbacks default to. Now, Brett Hundley's not that young anymore. Been in the league probably five years now-ish, I would say.
Something like that, yeah.
So what's the quarterback depth chart here?
It goes Carson Wentz, Jacob Eason, and Sam Ehlinger. It depends, though. It really depends how they feel about Carson, if they want to keep 3. Because if they keep 3 now, it's going to be Brett Hundley because, like you said, Ehlinger's hurt now. And then they'll just try to stash Ehlinger on the practice squad. Tim Boyle also got hurt in this game. We'll talk about that for Detroit because that throws their backup situation into a funk now too.
Deion Jackson had himself a game though. 8.1 average on the ground, touchdown, also receiving touchdown.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns for Jackson there. Really solid game. Probably won't make the roster.
Good practice squad guy though.
Loved seeing Isaiah Kalfusi, Bronson's brother, play well. Rookie out of BYU. So, yeah.
One name though that kind of stands out to me. I know it's a position group that we've been saying is really bad throughout the offseason, but the Lions receivers with Quintez Cephas there, 3 for 3 with catches and targets there. So that's always good to see. And he did catch a touchdown. So he kind of showed off there in the last game. Plus, I know that they cut one of their veteran receivers. So
yeah,
that's just a preview for the news. So
y'all are always trying to put news out there that we have on the schedule and we haven't talked about it yet. God, trying to control this thing.
Let's move on.
Colts covered.
Let's talk about the Panthers.
Over 34 hit. So Panthers rolling the Steelers, 34-9. Dude, I was talking to Chris because I had a parlay. I had a teaser parlay on this, plus 6 points. And the Steelers teaser was plus 10.5. And they are the only one out of the 4 games on Friday that lost the teaser.
I have mixed reviews on this. I'm sure some people are going to like this game more than I do, but I think it was – I don't think the Steelers played remotely what their team is going to look like. And on the flip side, that makes Sam Darnold looks a little bit better. I don't like that Robbie Anderson was targeted 5 times and only caught it twice. But he did get a touchdown, and we know he's going to be a focal point of that offense. Then you look on Pittsburgh's side, I kind of – the wide receiver thing is for these teams is always a position that I'm curious about. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like Juju Smith, we know people in their system. We know the Panthers have cycled through people. Well, then you look at Ray McLeod and 9 targets and only 4 receptions. But at the same time, he had a 15.3 average, which is pretty darn good, and a touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, he's not a receiver though. He's
a high, yeah.
He's their returner and their
he's a Swiss Army knife of he's not a Taysom Hill, but he's their Taysom Hill, right?
Yeah, I think a big reason why there were so many missed targets though, especially the Steelers, was because the 2 quarterbacks that were playing the Steelers
100%
spots. So off the bat, the receivers didn't have the greatest quarterbacks ever.
And I would even go as far to say that Sam Darnold hasn't had a lot of snaps live with Robbie Anderson, and that should get better as the season goes.
Yeah, I was just so disheartened by the quarterback play in this. Now, I understand it was a tough situation for Dwayne Haskins. He started, but he played against the Panthers starting defense. And the Steelers' backup offensive line did not help him at all. So, but that, I think this game really showed that Steelers are committed to Mason Rudolph at number 2, and then they'll keep Haskins as number 3. Because I know one thing, people were saying, like, this game was, okay, who are we keeping as our 3rd? Is it going to be Dwayne or is it going to be Josh Dobbs? And I didn't even think that was a conversation that needed to be done. I just thought
Right.
Haskins, because Haskins has the higher ceiling. Because we know what Dobbs is. He's been with the Steelers two different times already, and they've had him for years. So I don't think they don't know what he's doing. But yeah, love to see Robbie Anderson get a touchdown, Terrace Marshall get a touchdown. Sam Darnold played lights out against the Steelers backups, I know. But he played lights out. He got it done. What you're supposed to do is beat the backups. So
We'll talk about that later.
once again, though, for a second straight game, I know we were talking about it. Chris, you didn't join the call last night when we had our fantasy draft.
Yeah, I like being private when I'm drafting. I don't like.
But yeah,
I like that style.
we were talking about the Panthers backup situation as well, and I said it. I was like, week 1 after the first game of preseason, I was like, yeah, PJ Walker's got this locked up, but weeks 2 and 3, Will Grier has outplayed PJ Walker. So I really do think it's going to be Will Grier as the backup to Darnold at this point. I would rather have PJ. I like PJ a lot better than I do Will Grier, but it seems like Grier has it at this point.
Are they going to keep all 3 though, or is one of them getting cut?
I don't believe so. I think they only kept 2 last year. I think it was Teddy and PJ last year. Maybe
just
I'm wrong. I don't know.
That's one of those interesting things you're going to have to keep a pulse on, because if Darnold gets injured, this team's not going to be very good.
Forget about injury. If he continues to play the way he did on the Jets, there might be a quarterback change.
Well, and I always go back to, in my mind, I like having a backup quarterback that is similar to your starter, unlike they have in Philadelphia. Because in Philadelphia, you got Jalen Hurts, who is very capable of doing that stuff. And then you have Joe Flacco as a pocket passer.
They changed that this weekend. We'll talk about that later.
But in Carolina, it's definitely Will Grier fits closer to what Sam Darnold does than PJ Walker does.
Walker's off the board, yeah. Or different than Darnold.
And Pittsburgh already has that. Mason Rudolph does the same stuff that Big Ben does. So okay. Yes, Terrace Marshall, one of the top rookies in the preseason. Love to see that. Steal, a legitimate steal so far in the second round. All right, Panthers covered -4 over 36. 36 was a popular over-under this week. I don't know why. Here we go, Chris. Jets tied the Eagles 31-31. Joe Flacco, man, looking lights out. He's proven me wrong. I hated that signing. I signed him. But it's fine. He's looked like 2012 Joe Flacco, really, in the preseason. And looks healthy.
Again, that could be a result of him playing against backups for the most part.
Yeah, but like I said, he looks healthy now.
Yeah. But this game was crazy. I know you and I were both watching it, kind of texting back and forth about it, but you were complaining about how the Jets weren't like covering or whatever, and then obviously that last second play, they tied it up with the bomb to Kenny Yeboah, who obviously had a huge game there, 4 for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. But I liked what I saw from him last night, but that was the only time, or not last night, on Friday. But that was really the only game of the 3 that he really did anything in. So I don't know if that was enough to get him to stick on the team, but I like him enough that I hope that they can somehow get him on the practice squad.
Yeah, your boy, your favorite quarterback, threw that not game tying, but the touchdown that went to the 2-point conversion to tie it.
Mhm.
James Morgan, your favorite quarterback.
Away for the draft pick. Although he did look
Josh
good against the
Johnson,
Eagles backup, so
Josh Johnson, though, 7 of 8. I told you, dude. Josh Johnson's gonna be the backup quarterback.
no, I mean,
Apparently, it's Mike White.
Yeah.
It's Mike White, actually.
I don't know. I really think Josh Johnson should do it only because he has the NFL experience, and Mike White has never played in an NFL game. Regardless of who outperformed who, I still think Josh Johnson should be the backup because of the experience thing. But I mean, the projected roster that they have on ESPN has them only carrying 2 quarterbacks. So that would be Zach Wilson and Mike White, meaning that the 2 quarterbacks that played for the Jets on Friday night would both be cut. So I don't know.
3 takeaways from this game. Quarterback play has not been this good in New York, and it's only the preseason. But I think that is a direct correlation to having a new head coach.
Mm-hmm.
That will take us to later discussions, definitely when it comes to first-year coaches. Secondly, I love to see Elijah Holyfield, undrafted UGA player, Vander Holyfield's son, have a good game with Philadelphia. That doesn't mean that he's going to essentially make the roster. He might, but it's always good to see an alumni have a good game. I don't think he's going to make the roster either. Lastly, though, cornerback, Michael, you're the name guru, Jacquet.
Yeah.
Love to see 10 tackles, 7 solo. I don't care if it's a preseason game or not. Someone is trying to make a roster with that effort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he made the roster last year, undrafted free agent, and probably going to make the roster again this year as the 5th or 6th corner.
Mm-hmm.
What I liked to see was Kenneth Gainwell continue to have a solid rookie preseason. Mm-hmm. He's going to factor heavily into the running back rotation this year as a rookie.
Yeah, I was curious how the whole we've been talking about it all offseason, but the running back depth chart for the Eagles, they go deep. So I don't know how many of them are going to get significant action or whatever, but in our Dynasty League, I just picked up Boston Scott because I figured he's going to get the most out of, or other than Sanders. I think he's going to be the number 2 guy there.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how the number 2 snaps are going to pan out because it's so split on the traits, because it's Jordan Howard and Boston Scott. Howard's your power guy, Scott's your receiving back. Now, in a perfect world, Kenny Gainwell can do both of those. And he would be the number 2 in my mind if he wasn't a rookie. I mean, but yeah, and we know Memphis backs, man, they always pan out in the NFL, at least the last couple of years. So it's just another guy. And I will shout out LC, Lawrence Cager. He had a touchdown on Friday. Good for him. Probably won't stick like he did last year.
Nope.
He didn't stick last year either. So
no, the Jets receiving core is just too deep this year. So I don't see him making it. But shout out to the Jets though for going undefeated this preseason. I know it was 2-0-1, but still, I don't remember the last time that there was no loss in the preseason. So maybe they're starting their own streak of undefeated games like the Ravens have.
Yeah, this was the first tie under the new no overtime preseason rule. So, and they actually said on the broadcast there hadn't been this was on the Giants broadcast, I believe. Giants Patriots. Yes. No. Saturday, I think. I don't know.
I don't remember.
But yeah, they said, there really hadn't even been that many overtimes in the preseason. they said the last one happened way back in 2011. So it's like, it's not like there's been a lot. So I didn't really understand the need to negate preseason, but overtime, but whatever. I like it. I thought it gives more people more chances to get plays on film. So,
Well, yeah, especially now with the one last game.
right? I don't know. Eagles covered +4 over 33. Chiefs undefeated. Vikings winless 28-25. Lot of really good quarterback play in this game. I was watching this one. Shane Buechele again, dude. I mean, he has just played lights out this preseason. And unfortunately, he's not going to make the roster.
I hate that.
Like,
he looked good this preseason. That's all I can say.
This one, I was very excited, though, because finally, Kellen Mond looked decent. Finally. Now, he still turned the ball over twice, but completion percentage near 70. It's what you want. Almost 200 yards, 40 on the ground. I think that's going to kind of be what Kellen Mond is.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I guess we'll talk about the starters too. Patrick Mahomes just shredded the Vikings.
Yeah.
His throw to Tyreek Hill when Tyreek got off the line and just blew past him because the guy didn't press Tyreek. He didn't even touch him. Like, you can't do that, dude. You have to get your hands on Tyreek Hill. You're not gonna cover him by letting him free release off the line.
There's only 2 quarterbacks, in my opinion, in the NFL that could go 8 for 9 with 2 touchdowns. 2 or 3. And their names are Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, and Aaron Rodgers. You give them 8 attempts and they get 8 completions with 2 touchdowns, and that's, I think, what is special about these quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just wanted to see like what Shane Buechele's total stat line was this preseason, and it is quite good.
In my opinion, he's going to have no problems making a roster if he keeps performing like this preseasons and practice squads.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that the Dallas Cowboys wouldn't like him as a backup quarterback?
So Shane Buechele went 37 of 55, which is 67.3%, 422 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks.
That's solid.
As a rookie, but he does have good skill players. I will say that, right? Like the Chiefs have good skill players, or they at least have speed on their side.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because we know that the Chiefs don't keep 3 usually. It's just going to be Mahomes.
I mean, here's the question.
Huh?
Here's the question: would he be better as a backup for Carolina than PJ or Will Greer? I think he's better than Will Greer.
Probably. There's a lot of people that are better than Will Greer.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I mean that's exactly what tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. That's all you're gonna see. You're gonna see because cuts happen. The cut deadline's tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then Wednesday you're gonna see a lot of IR designations for guys to go on short-term IR because they have to make the active roster in order to go on short-term IR, because if you're placed on IR before cut down, you're done for the year. So short-term IR guys, there's going to be a lot of those guys getting placed on IR on Wednesday and Thursday. You'll probably see a lot of guys getting picked up that got cut, filling those guys' spots that went on IR. Also, another guy that's had a really solid preseason, AJ Rose Jr. for the Vikings. I'm not sure how their running back depth chart is behind Cook and Madison. They have Abdullah too, so it'd be a stretch for Rose to make the roster, but he's had a really good offseason. Defensively, wasn't too much. Perry Nickerson, he picked off Shane Buechele, ran it back for a touchdown, 10 yards.
Yeah, that was the first name that popped out to me when we first switched to the slide, because Perry Nickerson is a former Jets draft pick. Of course, they shipped him out to Seattle, and now he's with the Vikings. And I don't know the status of him making the roster with the Vikings, but obviously he performed well in the game this past weekend.
I just want to know that the best name in football may never be told if we don't say it now. Do you guys see it?
You're talking about Hercules.
Yes.
Hercules Mataafa. Yeah, he's a former draft pick of the Vikings. Yeah, he fifth round. I suck at remembering what round people got drafted in.
Great name though. Great name.
Maybe he wasn't drafted.
I think he was undrafted, wasn't he?
It doesn't say it doesn't say a draft round, so I guess he wasn't drafted. And then one more last thing about this here. Everson Griffin, dude. Everson Griffin re-signed with the Vikings this week, plays in his first game back with Minnesota, gets a sack. I mean, that's what Everson Griffin always did with the Vikes. So,
did he play with the starters though, or is he a backup now?
I don't know. No clue. I would assume he'd be a starter. There's not really any reason for him to sign back there if he's not a starter. So, Vikings covered plus 4.5 over 38. All right. Saturday. Forgot to put the date on there.
Yes, sir.
But Bills undefeated, 3-0. Packers winless, 0-3. They played no one this offseason, this preseason. 19-0 no Bills. I was really pissed off at Buffalo in this one. Another game I live bet minus 19.5. They're leading 19-0 with 3:28 to go in the third quarter. Jake Fromm still in at this point. Davis Webb got in the fourth quarter. There was 2 chances, 2 drives. They got into field goal range and they went for it on fourth down. And I was like, dude, you're up. Why does it matter? Why do you got to go for it?
Because they're trying
field goal. I only needed 1 field goal and I would have covered.
They're just practicing those situations though. They're practicing the fourth and short situations.
Yeah, for when freaking Jake Fromm's gonna be in the game for Buffalo, having to throw a fourth down pass to Tanner Gentry.
But wait, did Trubisky not play in this one?
No, he didn't. No, Josh Allen started, and then Jake Fromm took over, and then Davis Webb.
I guess my biggest question is, what do we make of Jake Fromm at this point?
He's making the team. That's what we're making of it, because
I agree. Is he going to be a lifetime backup?
Yes. It's because he doesn't have the physical traits necessarily to make all of the NFL throws, specifically the deep throws, because his arm is not that great. So, but yeah, that's what you always knew you were getting with Jake Fromm, though. He's a smart quarterback that can get you in the right plays.
You know what I attribute him to? And I could be wrong. People could get mad at me. A.J. McCarron.
Yeah.
And he
I
was,
mean,
he was in Buffalo at one point, I believe.
I don't think so.
He was up
maybe.
north somewhere. Well, he was with Cincinnati for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I might be wrong on that.
But yeah, I think Jake Fromm is actually going to end up being like Josh McCown. Really, I mean, just because, like I said, he's really smart and he can do enough in a game to maybe win, maybe not, but definitely think he's earned that third string spot this season.
Will Trubisky ever start for a franchise again?
Yes.
I think he has a chance of it next year.
He'll get signed next year by someone. Yeah.
This is my takeaway. Just because Green Bay hasn't played anybody, talk about all these stats. I just think it's an intriguing backup situation for both teams. I mean, did Jordan Love really show Green Bay anything?
Not to my knowledge. I mean, he only played 2 out of the 3.
I don't think they solved their quarterback situation after Aaron Rodgers by any means.
No.
It's Kurt Bankert. It's Kurt Bankert.
Unless he just keeps developing, but I just don't see who's taking over after Aaron Rodgers. And that was he 21st pick, 20th, 22nd?
28th,
Something like that.
28th, I believe.
I'm not the GM. You're in Wisconsin now, so you get
the problem.
Everything that they have to say there.
But that's the problem with having a superstar diva quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, who I could see him being the type of person that refuses to help Jordan Love because he doesn't want Jordan Love kicking him out of town. So I don't know. I maybe Jordan Love has a place somewhere else, but I don't think it's going to be in Green Bay.
Well, and that's the thing. I think the Packers knew when they drafted Jordan Love that it would be another Aaron Rodgers situation. Jordan Love coming out, I wasn't very high on Jordan Love, but he was very raw, and you knew he needed at least a year to get ready. And now it's going to be 2 years this season for him to get ready. So, Rodgers' expiring contract is coming down the pike in 2022 after the 2022 season. So that'll be 3 years of Jordan Love sitting behind him. If you're not ready by then, when are you going to be ready? So
I agree. That's my storyline for this game. I mean, you can talk about Gabriel Davis, five receptions, 5 targets, touchdown.
Dude, I love Gabe Davis, man. If they wouldn't have all the receivers that they do, I think Gabe Davis, especially in fantasy, would be a great wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 upside guy.
I agree with that.
It especially hurt him when they signed Emmanuel Sanders. That's just another guy to feed. And we already know Allen loves Beasley as well as Diggs. So not too much going on defensively. A lot of guys, similar statistics. Isaiah McDuffie with the leading tackler in this one. Bills covered -7.5 under 38. Ravens making history. 20 straight preseason wins for the Baltimore Ravens, and it came in amazing fashion. Tyler Huntley played the majority of the game. I don't know how many drives Lamar got. Obviously, only 4 throws for 29 yards. That's probably 3, 2, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe 2.
I was going out, so I didn't get to see the game. But yeah, dude, what a performance by Tyler Huntley, dude. 5 total touchdowns, almost 300, just 1 yard under, 300 total yards, and over 70% completion, which is what you like to see.
Mm-hmm.
It goes back to what you said. You want someone behind your quarterback that can simulate what he does if he is not able to play. And watching this game, that's what I thought. Like they have the perfect system in place if Lamar gets hit on a run one day and has to. You don't want him to be out the entire season, right? But like if he misses 2 or 3 weeks, this looks like they wouldn't drop a dime. We'll talk about injuries later that could affect the team, but they look like a machine. The way that they drafted Ben Cleveland to put into their system and to pull and run and do all these things, I have to tip my hat off to Harbaugh. He does a really good job in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And some people agree or don't agree, but I think he's got him where he wants him.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny though because this kind of game just shows that the Ravens, even though everybody says, "Oh, they're the running team," like Lamar's like the running quarterback or whatever. Well, here we go with Tyler Huntley. He had an amazing game in the air, and you can see the number of names here with the receivers in Baltimore. They all got a good amount of targets and catches. So, I mean, obviously Baltimore, again, this is only preseason and they were backups and whatnot, but Baltimore can win either way.
It's Lamar. It's Lamar's issue. That's what I've been saying all along, guys. Lamar is not a passer. And we've seen that be true in the playoffs, specifically the playoffs. But yeah, I really feel bad. I love this for Tyler Huntley. I feel so bad for my boy, though, Trace McSorley, who's injured right now and doesn't have a chance to defend himself against Tyler Huntley. So
that is your boy.
But yeah, the Ravens have 3 quarterbacks that all can run the system the same way. So other than that, Fitzmagic didn't play in this one. Kyle Allen, not the greatest. Both quarterbacks for Washington, not great. But look, I like that you said about the receivers, though, because there's 2 there, draft picks, one last year, one this year. James Prochet, second-year guy at SMU, having a good game. As well as my other guy that I liked, that I picked as one of the draft steals that I thought the Ravens got, Tylan Wallace out of Oklahoma State this year, scoring a touchdown as well. So, yeah. Another game, though, that didn't really have any big-time defensive stats. Ravens covered -4 over 33 by themselves. Bears beating the Titans 27-24. Jesper Horsted. Oh my God. He's a Harvard guy, if you didn't know. I think it might have been Princeton. I can't remember. 5 catches, 104 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 2 from Foles, 1 from Fields.
That's a fantasy day, guys. That's a fantasy day.
Yeah.
And he caught the game-winning 54-yard touchdown from Nick Foles to make it a 3-point game with 6:51 to go in the fourth quarter. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he is a Princeton guy. I don't know if it is Jesper or if it's Jesper, because they were saying Jesper on Good Morning Football today. I always thought his name was Jesper, though. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too familiar with the hockey
Jesper.
that is always a J with the Y sound.
Mhm.
Interesting. Javian Hawkins, he scored a touchdown for the Titans after signing with them just this week. Mekhi Sargent scored another touchdown. He's had a good camp for the Titans. And Fields started. Not bad. I think that's probably, I know that's the best completion percentage that he's had in all three of the games.
Mhm.
Granted, it's only on 10 throws, though. So.
Yeah, but yet again, it was for only 54 yards. So it was probably more short passes. So, I mean,
It's almost 8 yards for completion. Not terrible.
yeah, but I don't know. For me, you know how I am with the running backs, 5 yards of carry I like to see, but I like to see at least 10 yards per completion. So I would have liked to see closer to 70 yards there.
Why you like 5 yards per carry? That's difficult to do.
I know, but that's just an awesome number to get it to. So that when 5 yards per carry, that's a great game. But
4 is good enough. What my coaches always told me when I was in youth football, we get 4 yards on each down. We get a first down.
Yeah.
Well, I will piggyback kind of what Chris is saying. I want 4.5 because you're right. That's deviating right to chunk off a first down on a run. 5's hard, but if you can get to 4.7, 4.5, but it goes back to what I reiterate with people learning behind somebody. I like this about Justin Fields. It's still not gorgeous numbers, but it's good numbers. And if you don't start him on the first day and you learn behind Nick Foles or you learn behind somebody else and you learn the offense and you don't change your coaches a million times, then when you do say, okay, it's your time up, he should be somewhat more polished than other people. Does that make sense? I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater, but we don't know. And I like that they're not going to start him week 1. I want a team. Like if I'm a GM, I want to be in a team where I draft somebody that doesn't have to start day 1. I want to make sure that our offensive line is solidified, that you're learning under somebody that is willing to teach you, or if they're not willing to teach you, you at least learn something on the sideline.
Yeah, I don't think from what I see in the preseason, Bears fans think he's freaking God. The thing is, he runs around and does a lot of magical things with his legs, but I haven't seen the mental getting dropped back and then hitting your 4th guy in the progression. I haven't seen that from the 3 games that Justin Fields has played. And I think that's one of the things that I said when he was coming out this year. You know, I just did not think that he was mentally there yet. And that has been a problem with Ohio State quarterbacks over the last few years. Just saying.
And I guess that's what I'm attributing is if you give him more time, hopefully that comes up to speed. Does that make sense? Because I agree with you that the progression reads have to get better. You can't run around in a backfield in the NFL the way you can in college. I don't care if you're in the SEC or Big Ten. People are bigger, faster, stronger in the NFL. So if you give him time to learn, hopefully he gets better. Does that make sense? I think the arm strength is there.
Oh, yeah. Good job, Trey Roberson there for the Bears. Pick 6, 27 yards to the house. Bears -3 pushed over 37 hit. I'm sure a lot of people that have Bears -3 are pissed because the last touchdown in this game, the Bears went for 2 and missed it. All they needed was an extra point, dude, and they covered 3. All right. Bucks finally get a win. They had gotten destroyed in both of their previous 2 games, but that's because the GOAT actually played a decent amount of time in this game, and he scored 1 touchdown for Tampa Bay. So Tom Brady looked really good in this one. And dude, just like I said with Kellen Mond, Kyle Trask finally looks good too for the first time. Yeah, he turned the ball over twice again, though.
I just don't know. I don't even know where to begin to talk about this game because we've heard Tom Brady say that I could break barriers at my age right now. And you're like, I know he doesn't get hit. He never gets hit, right? And that's the beautiful thing about him as a quarterback. He's always had a good offensive line. But he looks as sharp as he did when he took over in New England. And it's like, oh, I know it's preseason, but oh my gosh, he looked good. And
it helps that he has a super team around him, though.
He only missed 2 times, but it goes back to the turnover things that we've talked about this preseason.
Yeah, Kyle Trask now has 4 turnovers. I believe it is 2 picks, 2 fumbles.
One thing I thought of this game when watching it is your boy looked pretty bad.
Dude, Davis.
He looked pretty bad, bro. He could not lead a team all season long.
Well, he's the opposite of Kyle Trask, though. The first 2 games, Davis Mills played pretty decent.
But the defense got better this game.
Actually, well, I mean, I guess his completion percentage has never been. The game against the Cowboys was his best game. 10 for 16.
Well, we all know that the Cowboys defense stinks, and that's why we'll talk about defensive rookie of the year later.
But yeah, think it's gonna be Tyrod, unless someone punctures his lung again. Where's that trainer? What's his number? But yeah, Scotty Phillips continued to have a very good preseason for the Texans. Granted, they have 500 running backs, so
that was the one player I said, man, you got to watch out for him. But they do have they're like New England, in my opinion. They got a bunch of running backs.
Love to see Chris Godwin having a good game with Tom Brady. A couple drives that they got, or quarter, however long they played.
28 average. How is that for you?
Defensively, D. Delaney for the Bucks, definitely the best game. 6 tackles, 5 solos, 3 pass deflections, 2 interceptions. Both off Davis Mills.
Terrible game.
Bucks covered -4 over 37. Was close. 2 points.
Yeah.
Broncos undefeated. They beat the Rams, who are winless, 17-12. Bryce Perkins show once again for the Rams. Mark,
look,
is he supplanting Mr. Wolford?
Look, all I'm gonna say is I could have wore a Panthers or a Rams shirt today. I wore a Panthers because if Matthew Stafford isn't built to be the savior of this franchise, this could be the 4th team in the standings in the division. I'm just telling you guys that right now.
They're winning the NFC West.
Aaron Donald cannot do everything, and I don't care what people's take is on Jalen Ramsey. He can't cover the whole field.
They will win the NFC West.
Well, you better get quarterback play.
Yeah, the Broncos quarterbacks weren't that, spectacular in this game either. Thought Drew Lock.
I go back to the yardage though, Chris. Back me up on this. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know he only had 5 completions, but it was only for 67 yards. He did get a touchdown. Locke did. Both of them had a 141 rating and a 101 rating, which is not terrible. But did either one of them steal the job in Denver?
I mean, it doesn't matter. Bridgewater's already announced.
But
We-
Drew Lock did look better in this one, though. But that could be because he was with the backups. I don't know.
But you really saw. I mean, again, the Rams didn't play any starters this preseason, so that kind of hurts the argument for Teddy Bridgewater playing against Broncos primary or Rams primary backups and still only throwing for 62 yards.
The Rams and the Green Bay Packers are, to me, the same this preseason.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to see when you have first team everything?
See, at least the Packers, we already know. We already know they're bringing the same people back, but we just don't know what the Rams are going to look like with Matthew Stafford.
I think they'll look better, though, for sure, than they did with Jared Goff.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
They're going to win the NFC West. I'm just saying.
I have them winning the NFC West, too, but I understand what Mark's saying.
I'm not saying that they aren't good enough. I just don't. And I love I love Sean McVay. I have a funny story about Sean McVay later. He was talking on Sunday morning on ESPN, and both of my twins go, "Dad, you're on TV." 100%. And I said, my bank account is nowhere near his.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting the last 2 games for the Rams, making it a point to get Tutu Atwell involved. He's had double-digit targets the last 2 games. And again, it's the same thing, though. They really never went downfield to him. As you can see, 7.8 per reception. And like I said on Friday, though, or last Monday, I don't remember. It might have been last Monday. That's what they want to use Tutu as, though. They want to use him as a screen guy and a gadget play. So he's going to catch a lot of quick screens and go and hope that he can make a lot after the catch. But
their most successful year, though, they had people like that. When Cooper, he wasn't necessarily doing that Cup, but you had Robert Woods, you had, Brandon Cooks, even before Brandon Cooks, and you had Gurley, but you had people like Farrell Cooper that was catching punts, but we were doing and I think that's going to expand back to what Sean McVay wants to do offensively.
Yeah. Tutu is definitely a guy that coming in, I was like, I'm not really sure how the Rams are going to use him. And I think now we've kind of seen because the whole thing was like, yeah, he is going to be Deshaun Jackson's protege. He's going to learn under Deshaun. And then next season, he's going to be the deep threat that Deshaun Jackson is. My guy Josie Jewell's back on the sheet. Yeah. He had a sack for the Broncos defense, and McTelvin Agim, rookie out of Arkansas, having a good game as well. Rams covered plus 9.5, under 34. Seahawks blanking the Chargers. They get their first win of the preseason, 27-0. Chris's boy, Geno Smith, looking pretty good. Only 9 yards, though.
I mean, we keep saying it. I feel like we're tiring it out, but it just seems like a theme that all these quarterbacks are throwing a lot of passes for a little bit of yards.
Yeah, and all 4 quarterbacks, completion-wise, did pretty decent. Easton Stick by far the worst with under 60%. But yeah, Sean Mannion 86, Chase Daniels 75. I would have liked to see if Chase Daniels was as frustrated in this game as he was in the second game. Because I mean, he fumbled the ball again. I'm sure that was a strip sack and not just him fumbling it.
Love Sean Mannion. 15, and only because he was in LA for a while.
I loved to see it, and I was actually shocked. Alex Collins was the leading receiver in this game, and I never really thought of Alex Collins as a receiving running back.
No,
I always thought of him as a power guy.
I really think that would heighten Seattle's offense this year if they could go downfield to a running back.
Well, they have had guys though. Rashad Penny is a receiving back. Travis Homer is a receiving back as well.
Made it, in my opinion, they've had players, but they haven't made it a focal point.
Yeah. Well,
that's because Carroll says every offseason, we're going to reestablish running the ball.
No, but I just had this dilemma this morning when I was trying to cut down my rosters for fantasy because I had Penny on my roster, and in the little like description for him, it said that Alex Collins pretty much beat him out for the number 2 spot there. So
see that.
Yeah, so I ended up cutting Penny because I don't think he's going to have that great of a season. And I think Alex Collins, as you pointed out, for this game especially, he balled out in this game. So I think that he'll have a solid season as the number 2 back there for Seattle. And also, there's always the Chris Carson injury question mark. So
humble question.
Well, yeah, that too.
Yeah, well, you were saying James Morgan was a waste of a draft pick as a former 4th-round pick. Talk about a waste of a draft pick. Rashad Penny was a 1st-round draft pick out of San Diego State, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he sucks. Fantastic game by Nick Neiman in this one. 13 tackles, 8 solos. Also had a sack. Rumpf as well. They have a lot of good defensive performances.
They're going to have a stout defense, guys.
Yeah, Rumpf for the Chargers as well with 3 tackles for loss, 2 quarterback hits. Former 2nd-round pick Darrell Taylor for the Seahawks with a sack and a half and 2 QB hits. And then Marquise Blair there, fumble recovery for a touchdown. Seahawks covered -5.5 under 36. Couldn't get any help from the Chargers. Okay, Sunday's games. Jags rolling the Cowboys, who ended up winless 0-4 in the preseason. Trevor Lawrence, man, he shredded the Cowboys backups. Like we said, that's, you did your job. You were starters playing against backups. You did what you were supposed to do. And I think it was a good confidence booster for Lawrence going into week 1. So.
Yeah.
And even Jake Luton, too. I mean, that's backups against backups when Luton went in as the 2nd quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And he shredded them, too.
The quarterbacks, though, that I was more interested in were the Dallas quarterbacks because they were all competing for the number 2 spot, essentially. Well, maybe not DiNucci. I think he was kind of out of the running by now, but Cooper Rush and Garrett Gilbert were kind of competing for the number 2 spot. I thought going into this, Cooper Rush was kind of the favorite, but Garrett Gilbert kind of neither one had that great of a completion percentage, but Garrett Gilbert, I think, had the better game here.
Yeah. Yeah, the Cowboys quarterbacks, I still think it's Cooper Rush as the backup. I just think overall preseason-wise, he's played the best.
Mm-hmm.
I like Garrett Gilbert the best. Just, I don't know. I just like him the best out of their backups that they have available. But like we said, there are cuts coming. There are going to be some quarterbacks available. We'll see if the Cowboys look into any of those options or not. But specifically Nick Foles, I mean, he's available via trade, most likely. Bears would have to eat a lot of money to cut him. So, receiving Jeff Cotton, dude. Jeff Cotton continued to have a strong preseason for the Jags. Not that confident he's going to make the roster, though, unfortunately. And Treadwell, Laquan Treadwell got on the score sheet in this one there. Israel Mukuamu having a pick for the Cowboys. Jags covered -4 over 36. Dolphins, they beat the Bengals 29-26. Reed Sinnett played the entire game for Miami and balled. Absolutely balled out. 343, 2 touchdowns, also had a pick off of 22 completions. Kyle Shermer also played very well for the Bengals. I don't know if that is an actual battle or not between him and Brandon Allen. I don't think it is. But Kyle Shermer's looked good the last 2 games for Cincinnati anyways. And Joe Burrow only attempted 1 pass, didn't complete it because it was a drop. Another drop by Jamar Chase, who has not quelled his issues with the dropsies yet. So I would not be drafting him in fantasy if I was.
Nope. But again, I said this when we talked about it a couple weeks ago, though. I don't know. I feel like once the regular season gets started and he has consistent play from Joe Burrow, I think that'll help him a lot.
Yeah, well, he better hope. I mean,
now or never.
Yeah.
Another guy I've been talking about though, Garrett Dokes. This was another name thing though that I was confused about because I had always thought it was Garrett.
Yeah.
But on the Dolphins broadcast, they said it Jared. So I'm not sure.
I don't know.
But he scored twice again. And if he can make the roster, he has a legitimate shot at being a goal line back. I'm telling you.
Well,
those touchdowns were from 1 yard.
I mean, yeah, but again, another situation I was having with the fantasy. The Miami backs, it seems like it's going to be the other 3 kind of rotating between Salvin Ahmed, and I'm blanking on the other 2 guys' names.
Myles Gaskin
and the third guy's completely blanking, but yeah, Garrett Dokes or Jared, however we say it, he was not in the conversation there, so I don't know.
Yeah, I just liked him out of Cincinnati as a 7th round pick. That was good value for the Dolphins, and yeah. Former XFL dude Jock Patrick, he scored a touchdown in this one for the Bengals. Rookie Chris Evans also had a receiving touchdown, and there really weren't many receiving. Kirk Merritt, the Sinnett to Merritt love this preseason has been real. Those 2 have connected on a couple touchdowns throughout the preseason. And our favorite name from last year's draft class, Chris, Noah Igbenogany. Noah Igbenogany.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty solid game there as well. Dolphins covered +2 over 36. Niners beating the Raiders 34-10. My guy Nathan Peterman played the whole game again. Not as good in this one as the first two. Now, see, this is the intriguing quarterback situation. A lot of the preseason, I was saying this quarterback situation is comparable to Chicago. But like I said, I don't think Justin Fields has looked that spectacular throwing the ball. I don't think Trey Lance has looked that great either, necessarily. And Jimmy Garoppolo is Jimmy Garoppolo. But like I was surprised though when I saw the replay of this game and Jimmy G put his body on the line to score that rushing touchdown. I think that told you a lot, not just, yeah, I got to score this rushing touchdown because I'm in a quarterback battle, but I think he really wanted to score that touchdown for his team. So,
yeah,
I don't know.
I think a good word that I would use would be heightened every day. I don't think that Justin Fields' situation is heightened the way the Niners situation is. They moved up. They used some assets to get Lance. And there's always been talk like, are they doing this to make one more tradable than the other? Well, eventually you're going to have to say, we're rolling with the quarterback. And which one is it?
Mm-hmm.
It'll be Garoppolo.
And I agree with that 100%. But is that going to be the same sentiment come week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
No, if they're having a bad season, I could see Trey Lance coming in, but to me the 49ers are never an offensive team anyway. They rely heavily on their defensive play, and obviously we saw that last year when everybody went down, then their season kind of derailed. But I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo is the perfect game manager quarterback. He does what he has to, and he's never going to give you like a spectacular performance. So as long as the defense is doing their job, I think Garoppolo will hold on to that job and be the quarterback for the 49ers. But if they are losing games and they're like 2-6 or whatever by the halfway point, I could definitely see them switching quarterbacks.
I will say that I am still impressed, or I like I don't know if impressed is a good word, what Wayne Gallman's doing this preseason. We knew what he was capable with the Giants last year on the goal line, but he's a winner. He's from Clemson, and I think it's a great pickup for Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, I've been a big fan of Gallman over the last couple of years, and I was surprised that the Giants let him go because, like you just said, he performed pretty well stepping in for Saquon when he went down. And yeah, Gallman now is in a running back room that's crowded with a bunch of different players. But I personally think that Gallman should be the running back 1A maybe, or 1B, whatever you want to call it. Because I think he's probably one of the better ones in that room. But I don't know how the depth chart is shaking out right now.
Yeah, it's definitely not as deep as it was when they had Coleman and McKinnon there. With just really Sermon is the only other guy I would think that would be ahead of Wayne Gallman at this point. With obviously the starter being Mostert. So, yeah, I think he'll have a role, but 2 touchdowns for JaMychal Hasty in this one as well. Former Baylor back, I believe. Max Richardson for the Raiders having a good game, 11 tackles, 9 of those being solos. Jordan Willis, Zach Kerr, Eddie Yarborough is getting sacks as well. Niners covered -5.5 over 36. Patriots beat the Giants 22-20. They stay undefeated. Finish the preseason 3-0. Giants winless 0-3. And this was almost our second tie of the weekend. It was so close. It's crazy, though, that both New York teams hit a Hail Mary. Both New York teams did that this weekend. With Mike Glennon throwing a touchdown. It was Willis, right? Willis caught it. Was that
I
the guy?
believe so, yeah.
Yeah, Damian Willis with the Hail Mary from Mike Glennon. Couldn't get the 2-point conversion to tie it, though, with 8 seconds left. So, but Mac Jones looked decent. Daniel Jones, completion-wise, was very good. But I was very happy to see Daniel Jones throw a red zone interception. It put a big smile on my face when he threw back across his body. Because screw the Giants.
Yeah. Obviously, being a Jets fan, I really hate the Patriots, but I am rooting for Mac Jones. And, I mean, they haven't named the starter yet, to my knowledge. I assume it's probably going to be Cam, but I think Mac Jones has put up a solid case as to why he could be or should be the starter.
Quarterback play was a lot of this game, right? Like in instance, Brian Hoyer, 9 for 10, 90% average is great, but he didn't go anywhere. That goes back to the yardage. And maybe the call play was different. Jones, everybody is just oogling over him. And I'm not going to say I'm not. But it goes back to a coach that's won how many Super Bowls? I mean, we all know how many. I'm just being facetious saying, let's count how many. He's going to pick his starter for week 1. And then from there, I think it could change on performance. And that's what's going to make the Patriots a fun to watch come NFL ticket time. The one thing that I will say that I really enjoy is Cam Newton has always been labeled this uber egotistical quarterback that wants to rip his shirt off and be Superman and this and that. I go back to wearing this Panthers shirt. What he did in Charlotte, and he still keeps foundations in Charlotte, has changed multiple elementaries, flag football, middle school, high school teams. And I love to see him running down the sideline. I could care less if Mac Jones saw him or not, or you're competing and you don't want to look at the guy when you come off the field. I love that Cam Newton ran down the sideline, whether he is going to be the starter or backup. I really do think that we miss in the debacle of social media and everything is when you're everyday grinding with teammates, I really do think that he wants Mac Jones to succeed. I really do think that he didn't know the cameras were on him, and he wanted to give him a high five in this instant, and he ran down the sideline to give him a high five. And I think in that moment, Mac Jones was thinking about everything he had to do as a quarterback too, and this might be one of the best quarterback relationships because we all know Cam Newton most likely won't be on this roster after this year, in my opinion. I don't think they're going to sign him again. I don't think, or they'll find a way not to keep him if Mac Jones is the incumbent for this franchise. One person I will say, aside from the quarterback, because this was a big quarterback philosophy game, is Wilkerson, 4 receptions, 72 yards, 18 average on 5 targets. And that's Patriot football, hitting a wide receiver in short routes, hitting a tight end. I think he could be a hybrid where you see him blossom the way other people have blossomed in New England.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Cam week 1, which hopefully for a couple weeks at least will help me with my Patriots finishing 4th in the division bet. So yeah. Christian Wilkerson again, another solid game. Ramondre Stevenson scored again. That's why I took a chance for him. If you saw Chris in our draft last night, I was like, it's like the second to last round. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna take a chance. It's shot in the dark.
Did you pick him?
Huh?
Did you pick him in your fan?
Yeah.
And
Like the second to last round.
I was the one before they shipped Michelle to the LA Rams, which I think he could have a budding role. That I said, I like this guy. And everybody said there's too many quarter or running backs. I don't know if he's going to make the roster.
No, he will.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely will, I think. Let's see. Defensively, Bill Murray.
Groundhog's Day.
Bill Murray had a good game this weekend, yesterday for the Patriots. 1.5 sacks, 2 QB hits to go with the tackle for loss. Giants did cover plus 3.5 over 36. And I know a lot of people were mad about that too. That the Patriots had the 3.5 covered and the Hail Mary was just screwed it over. Okay, last game here. Last game of the preseason. Browns finished undefeated. Falcons winless, 19-10. Kyle Lauletta not as good as the first 2 games, but Baker looked pretty good. Case Keenum looked decent, but they're not the guys I want to talk about. I want to talk about Josh Rosen, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that.
Chris Collinsworth kept talking about
2 days practice.
Yeah. And he was telling guys where to go on the field. That's how smart he is. No.
Go ahead.
He could have a home here in Atlanta. I mean, Felipe Franks has shown that he's not capable right now.
When I saw this, come up on the script that you worked so hard on, Rusty, thank you for doing it. That's what my first instinction was. Rosen has been across the United States. Think about where he's been. He's went east to west to east to, and he came down here in a few days' time. And he goes 50%, but he has a touchdown. He has 4 carries. If he didn't have a fumble, it would look better. But they looked capable with him under center, and we all know Matt Ryan wasn't going to get any snaps. I'm not at their practices, but he's got to be your backup right now. Am I wrong?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, Felipe Franks really hasn't shown that he's a capable passer in his rookie season so far. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think going into it right now, I think he would be the backup. But like you've said before, Rusty, with the cut downs and all that going down in the next 2 days and all the players that are going to be out there, I don't know. I could definitely see the Falcons signing somebody else, but still keeping Josh Rosen there as the 3rd guy.
Yeah, I think that having Rosen there, though, I think they're going to keep who they have. If they keep 3, that is, because regardless of whether they keep 2 or 3, I think they want to keep Franks. I think they believe in him as a developmental prospect. That they want to keep on him, whether that's on the active roster or on the practice squad. So, your boy again, the leading rusher in this game, John Kelly, former Ram, Mark, continues to play pretty well for the Cleveland Browns in the preseason. And
Kel Walker.
Yeah, Michael Walker, second round pick last year for the Falcons.
Mhm.
But yeah, Cameron Malveaux, very good game. 2 sacks, 2 tackles lost, 3 quarterback hits.
That's a good game.
Okay. I don't know why that went there. Okay. We don't have any NCAA news. Possibly, I guess I just saw something about Tulane saying that their game against Oklahoma this weekend is on still and that they haven't made a decision about any of the other games yet just because of Hurricane Ida. Guess that is a piece of NCAA news.
They better play that game. It's in Norman, and it's a buyout game.
Well, I think they were saying that they're one of two things, that they didn't have adequate practice time because of the storm, or traveling would be difficult to get to Oklahoma.
Oklahoma better put them up in hotels for a week.
NCAA, NFL news wise, let's start getting the trades here. So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
there's 4 trades, but we only have 3 slides because one I didn't get specific compensation for. So we'll talk about that one first. Not going to be long talk, I already know, because you guys probably don't know who this is. But the Dolphins, they had a swap of late round picks with the Ravens for offensive lineman Greg Mance. Just really added depth for the Dolphins offensive line there, that they were trying to get. So the first one, the biggest one.
Yes. Yes.
You
I
like
love
that picture? You like that picture that I got? The Eagles traded a 2022 conditional 6th round selection to the Jacksonville Jags for quarterback Gardner Minshew. The conditions of that 6th rounder, it will become a 5th round pick if he plays 50% in 3 games. This 50% of the snaps in 3 different games this year.
And what do you think the chances of that happening are?
Not very high. I like it. They cut Nick Mullins the same day to open up a spot, which I think very much was needed. Nick Mullins was absolute trash in the preseason. So, and Minshew played well this year, this preseason. So I have no issues. They sent the Jags what the Jags got for what the Jags used on him. So
he's undersized guy. But I think in the right system he can win ball games when needed. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Minshew, I mean, that's crazy though. Well, Jacksonville and now Philadelphia both have had Minshew mania and Tebow time.
I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Hurts got injured if Minshew isn't the starting quarterback if he goes down. That takes it over from Flacco.
That is a conversation that has been had. Because when this trade went down, people started talking about, well, is Flacco now available because he played so well? And you know Howie Roseman loves doing that.
Mm-hmm.
He said it before that he wants to be a quarterback factory. He wants to get quarterbacks, develop them, and then ship them off for draft picks. So, I don't know. Next one, your Jets, Chris. They got a pass rusher.
Yeah.
The Jets traded a 2022 6th round selection to the Houston Texans for defensive end Shaq Lawson. Low risk, mild upside.
I mean, considering he's a former 1st round pick, I'm fine giving up a 6th round pick. that technically wasn't even the Jets pick to begin with.
Yes.
It was the 49ers pick from a trade that they did last year or whatever. But yeah, Shaq Lawson's been around the league a little bit. He was with the Bills and the Dolphins, and now with the Texans, and then obviously now with the Jets. But obviously there was a big hole there on the defensive line when Carl Lawson went down. So I'm happy with this. Again, I still think that there's a high upside to this because of his first round pedigree. There's a reason why he was a first round pick back a couple years ago, but I think in the right system, which I think Saleh's system is a great system for defensive players because he is a defensive coach. I think that Shaq Lawson could be a solid pass rusher for this defense.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because they released another D end today. Guy I had never heard of, but I was just like, bro, like they said they have a need an edge rusher, yet they're really, I mean, granted it's cut down, so but still.
Big time name being a first rounder and coming out of Clemson, but hasn't performed in NFL up to par. And that's why I like it. Does that make sense? Like, I like it. I don't think it's a lose or win for any team because he hasn't performed up to the par. But if he does for the Jets, that's just a better piece of the puzzle for you, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
Another defensive end getting traded today. The Panthers sending a 2022 sixth round pick to the Buffalo Bills for defensive end Daryl Johnston. Carolina has a lot of defensive line depth from free agents and trades, draft picks, the first 2 years of the Matt Rule era. So, yeah. I
like the pick because, like you said, there's a surplus on one team, and we all know what McDermott can do on the defensive side of the ball. He was the DC in Carolina for years, and if anyone can get the most out of somebody, I think that's him.
Well, Daryl Johnson's going to the Panthers, though, Mark.
My bad. I read it. My screen is on. My screen is opposite. I did that last week. 2 weeks ago. I always get to trade. It was the cornerback Packers and Giants. I always get the arrows mixed up.
Just look at what jersey the player is wearing.
I got you. Sorry. Well, I still think that's somewhat acceptable for the Panthers. Matt Rule is definitely a defensive coach.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm only right 99.1% of the time.
Okay. Let's roll through NFL news here. The rest of the NFL news, I should say. Oh, wait. Oh, forgot this trade. Here we go. Not on the script. Not even on my script. Look at that. Forgot about this one. Player for player.
Bengals, and the Bengals are getting a giant. I'm kidding.
Yeah. So, player for player, the Giants sent defensive tackle B.J. Hill to the Bengals for offensive lineman Billy Price. It also involves a former first-round pick, Billy Price, out of Ohio State a couple years ago. Never really worked out in Cincinnati, but Giants need all the offensive line help they can get. So, and
they traded one of their deepest positions for it too. So,
and B.J. Hill was a second-round pick, I believe, with the Giants. So, high former draft picks. Player for player is pretty solid. One getting defensive line help, one getting offensive line help. I kind of like it. Fills what both teams needed. So,
and wait, Price is a center, or is he a versatile offensive lineman, or
Center
what's
guard.
going on? Okay.
Yeah, center guard.
Because I noticed he had the football there in the picture, so I assumed he was at least a center.
Yeah, for the majority of his time in Cincinnati, he played center though. He is best at center. Okay, now the rest of NFL news. So the NFL announced today it has entered into agreements with Fox Bet, BetMGM, PointsBet, and WinBet. That's the only one I had never heard of before. To be the approved sportsbook operators for the 2021 season. Sign of the times. It's big time. Lot of money. Lot of money in sports books. So the NFL is finally realizing that and seeing how much more money they can pull in by adding sports books to their stadiums and to their partners. The next point is kind of stupid. I just put it on there because someone said about it today. The Bears are entertaining offers for Nick Foles. Who would have thought?
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, what they traded a 6th-round pick for him or something like that?
I don't remember.
It was something like that. It was a day 3 draft pick, I think. Maybe more with it, but they can't be asking for much more than what they traded away for him.
I think
Because of that high salary.
Was it a 4 and a 6?
Something like that.
Yeah. But I just thought it's funny that someone said that. But it was also good because their last preseason game this weekend was a Nick Foles showcase, 10 for 13 for 100+ yards or whatever. All right, the Giants linebacker Ryan Anderson, he's going to be suspended for the first 6 games for PEDs. Hurts the Giants defensively. Another area that is not all that strong for the G-men. Raiders, a couple fines here, 3 fines specifically. The Raiders quarterback Nathan Peterman and Rams defensive back J.R. Reed both fined $5,556 for unnecessary roughness and unsportsmanlike conduct. So I believe the unnecessary roughness was on J.R. Reed. Unnecessary roughness. So yeah, my connection is unstable. That's what.
Yeah, I noticed that you went out for a good couple seconds.
So that's fun. But yeah, Nathan Peterman, unsportsmanlike conduct fine. J.R. Reed, unnecessary roughness fine. Also fined this week, Bills linebacker Andre Smith, $5,806. That was for the hit to the head of Justin Fields in preseason week 2 that knocked his helmet and headband off.
Oh God!
So
that was a good hit. I mean, that was a big hit. I guess good is not a good word.
You know, they wouldn't have flagged that like 5 years ago.
That was a hit. That was a hit.
All right. Let's get some activations here off of some of the preseason lists. So very excited about this one. The Eagles today activated 2 guys. The first rookie offensive lineman, Landon Dickerson, off of the NFI list. He started practicing today. And they also activated safety Rodney McLeod off of the PUP list. So he will start back practicing as well. Rodney McLeod is going to play a more significant role than Dickerson will this year. But I really loved Dickerson coming out of the draft, even with coming off a torn ACL. Ravens, they activated tight end Nick Boyle off of PUP today. Their best blocking tight end that they have there for Baltimore. Guys coming off the COVID list, the Texans, they activated their left tackle Laramie Tunsil off of the COVID list. And the Colts, they activated guard Quentin Nelson from it as well. But the Colts also put 3 guys on the COVID list, 3 really important guys. The third one, maybe not so much, but Carson Wentz, center Ryan Kelly, and wide receiver Zach Pascal, all placed on the COVID list. Not positives, but close context to a positive coach, I believe it was.
Yeah, obviously, I think 2 of those are a lot bigger than the third, but I mean, Wentz is still trying to come back from the injury that he had earlier in the offseason.
So is Kelly.
And yeah, Kelly too. And I believe, or I don't remember the status of Quentin Nelson, but he's on his way back too, I think, right?
Yeah, because he had the same broken foot that Carson did.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, a lot of key guys for the Colts going on and off a bunch of different lists. Also placed on the COVID list, Bucks defensive tackle and Ndamukong Suh. So another key guy there.
Mm-hmm.
The Niners, they waived injured wide receiver / kick returner Richie James. Talked about him getting hurt last show. Now he is being waived. So we'll see if anyone claimed him or not. And then if not, he'll just revert back to the Niners. Big money, big money. The Vikings, they signed safety Harrison Smith to a 4-year, $64 million extension, $26.38 million guaranteed. He becomes the second highest paid safety in the league, behind Chris's favorite player, Jamal Adams. And the craziest thing, I think, is that they signed him to be the second highest paid safety at age 32.
Mm-hmm.
So they're praying that he's going to play out this 4-year contract until he's 36.
Yeah, I mean, he has been one of the better safeties, but I was kind of surprised at the numbers of the contract. And I was not too happy with them, though, when I saw the numbers, because obviously the Jets are having their own safety issues for like the 4th year in a row, with Marcus May now trying for that long-term contract. So obviously the Jamal Adams contract is having a big ripple effect, and Harrison Smith was the next one to get it.
I don't know what word to use. Maybe I want to use maybe it's a trailblazing thing. You don't see these ages of players get that, but you're not seeing people used the way that they use, not used. You don't deteriorate in certain positions the way that you did years ago. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But I still wouldn't bank on a 36-year-old unless they're a Ravens player, because we all know the Ravens Hall of Famers back there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was very, very surprised that they paid him. Not necessarily if they paid him, but the length of the contract.
That's exactly, I'm backing you on that one.
Like I said, the Eagles released quarterback Nick Mullins after they traded for Gardner Minshew. The Panthers, they released kicker Joey Sly. Ryan Santoso left as the kicker, getting traded for. Was perfect in his debut with the Panthers against the Steelers. I loved to see it. Joey Sly was playing terribly.
I mean,
So,
I think Santoso won the job before he even hit the field.
this is true, probably. But, because Sly missed another kick in that Steelers game. So, and like I said, Santoso was perfect. I DM'd him on Instagram trying to see if he wanted to come on the show. He hasn't responded, so
Come on, please.
would love to have you, Ryan. Would love to have you. Other releases here, the Lions, they released wide receiver Brashad Perriman. I thought a bit surprising.
That is.
But they have Tyrell Williams. Amon-Ra St. Brown has played very well in the preseason. They like Quintez Cephas as well. I can't remember who. They also have Geronimo Allison there. Those are the only guys I can think of. I was surprised I got 4 Detroit wide receivers out.
Yeah. But yeah, this was the big thing I was alluding to earlier when we were talking about the Lions game. Yeah. Brashad Perriman, who was one of their free agent acquisitions this year, he obviously didn't perform up to standard, but I thought for sure he was a lock regardless of how well he performed because of their lack of depth at the position. But yeah, like you said, though, the fact that he got cut, I think, opens the door for some of the younger guys like St. Brown, who is the rookie, the new guy in the room. So I don't know. I think that this helps his numbers out a little bit.
Other releases, the Steelers, they released long snapper Cameron Canaday. I can't recall who they got this offseason to challenge him. Who ultimately won, I don't remember, but he had been on the Steelers for quite a while. The Colts, they released veteran safety Sean Davis, former Steelers. Second round pick, I think. Lance, you know me. I'm so bad at knowing guys' rounds that are after the first, even sometimes first round or something. I don't know. And the Bucks, they released corner Antonio Hamilton and tight end Tanner Hudson. I was surprised, man. Tanner Hudson's a preseason beast, but he couldn't make the roster this year.
Nope.
The Dolphins also released a couple of big name guys-ish. They released center Matt Skura, who they signed from the Ravens this offseason. And also just coming down the pike like a minute ago, they released linebacker Bernardrick McKinney, who they traded for this offseason from the Texans, which was just weird.
Yeah.
I guess they really like their young guys because they do have a couple guys. Who's the Ohio State dude? I can't remember. They drafted one of the Ohio State linebackers this year, I believe. I don't know.
I don't remember.
The Colts. So former Texans third round pick tight end Kahale Warring. He's had an interesting week. So he was with the Texans, got waived, claimed by the Patriots. I don't know if he ever got to New England because he was then waived by the Patriots this week, and now he got claimed by the Colts. He's been on 3 teams in 1 week.
Hey, I mean, I'm surprised. I don't even know why the Patriots would do that. I mean, maybe they thought they needed him, and then because they are having injury issues with their tight ends, right? I think so.
Somewhat, yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they thought, oh, we need another tight end just in case, and then they got back good results or whatever, and then they were like, okay, never mind. Now we don't need him, so he never even made it to New England. Who knows? But yeah, now this kind of gives him a chance to stay in division if he does make the Colts roster.
I'm surprised the Saints didn't put in a claim, or obviously we don't know who put in the claims for who, but Yeah, we know they got Trotman and Vanette are both hurt right now.
Mhm.
Nothing long term, but got to have guys practice at least. So, also just Tom Pelissero saying the Cardinals, they are releasing veteran safety Sean Williams, formerly of the Bengals as well. All right, injury news. The Panthers rookie wide receiver Shi Smith, he's going to miss a few weeks. He went down with a shoulder injury against the Steelers. Or actually, no, that was in practice. Never mind, not against Steelers. Like Mark sort of foreshadowed earlier, Colts rookie quarterback Sam Ellinger, he has a sprained ACL. He's out about 4 weeks for that. Got very lucky that he sprained his ACL. It's a very rare injury too. It's difficult to sprain your ACL without tearing it. For anyone that doesn't know, a sprain is just a partial tear of ligaments, muscles. Take your pick. But we're gonna skip the next one because I don't want to talk about it. Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins, he is out for the year, torn ACL. Also reportedly has some possible LCL damage as well. That just means the rehab is going to be longer. But glad that it happened now, like week 8. So, unfortunately, I literally just traded for JK last week in Dynasty. So he went on my IR this week. It was good, though. It lets me keep a player.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I would have had to cut someone else. I already had a hard enough time cutting the 4 that I did. Actually, I only had to cut 3 technically because I traded Mike Williams too. So I made a roster spot that way. Figuring ways to game the system, Chris. That's how you got to play it.
Hey, I tried to trade all my players too, but nobody wanted them. And then as soon as I cut some of them, they got picked up immediately, like Sam Darnold with your team.
Yeah, but I just cut him again.
You immediately cut him right after that, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, because I couldn't afford to keep 4. I couldn't. Let's see. The Colts, they have some injuries here. So wide receiver T.Y. Hilton, he has a disc injury in his neck. Gonna miss multiple weeks. Frank Reich said it's not season ending though. There's just something about the Colts and neck injuries, huh? Sorry, Peyton. Had to bring it up.
Hey, that could have been the best thing that ever happened to him, though, because then he went on to Denver and had a successful couple years there. So
broke all kinds of records.
Yep.
Also,
funny.
Well, I did like what someone put out today, talking kind of like a PSA to guys that are getting cut. You know, even Peyton Manning got cut. So I think the bigger injury, I've never been a big TY fan, so I don't think that's as major of an injury with Pittman and Pascal and whatnot, but Colts offensive tackle Sam Tevy is out for the year. He tore his ACL. He was placed on IR. Now, that is very significant, though. He was going to be their week 1 starter at left tackle while Eric Fisher is still working himself back from the torn Achilles suffered in the playoffs with the Chiefs. So now it's like, who do the Colts start week 1? Because we already know Fisher's not going to be ready by then.
That makes it hard for anybody under center, Wentz or Eason.
Yeah, third string left tackle. And the thing is that, Joe Haig used to be on the team. He's now in Tampa Bay. They could bring back a guy that they had the last couple of seasons, who the Eagles cut last week, LaRaven Clark.
Mm-hmm.
That could be an option. I don't know off the top of my head what the Colts offensive line depth looks like, so I can't really say out of the guys that they have right now. I just know guys that are out there. Some of the guys so. The Cowboys rookie corner Kelvin Joseph, he injured his leg in the game this weekend. Haven't heard any updates on him. Staying in division, the Giants tight end Evan Ingram, he has a calf injury. I heard that it's going to be tough for him to get back by week 1 with the calf in only 2 weeks. So, and also tight end injury, probably bigger than Evan Ingram because they have Kyle Rudolph there. But Vikings tight end Irv Smith Jr., he's going to have meniscus surgery, miss the start of the season. Probably, I would assume, be back by mid-season at the latest. Maybe if he can get back after 4 games, I think that would probably be a big win for them. But, yeah, meniscus surgery for Irv Smith.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the better tight ends, I think, around the league. So
The breakout candidate for sure.
Yeah. He was poised for a big season. I mean, he still could come back from the injury. Like you said, it's not a super long-term injury, so he still could have a decent season, but this injury kind of derails it a little bit.
The Lions quarterback Tim Boyle, he's going to have surgery on a broken thumb. That's why I kind of alluded to that in the Lions game recap there, because, you know, now it's just Jared Goff. And who else did I say they have?
I don't know.
After Tim Blau, geez.
David Blau. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to be buyers during cutdowns to snag a quarterback from somewhere.
Ian Bouchel. I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't be surprised. Definitely going to be a bunch of guys that are going to be available. Quality. Niners quarterback Trey Lance just announced he has a chip in his finger. He's going to miss about a week of practice there. So that solidifies it, yeah. even though they haven't announced the starter yet.
Week 1, there's your starter.
That solidifies that he is not going to be the starting quarterback week 1. Mm-hmm. And then finally, Chris, your Jets, more pass rusher news. They are working out defensive end Dion Jordan.
All right. Not the greatest, but
yeah. Another high draft pick that didn't, succeed in other places.
Chris, just send all of your 2022 draft picks to the LA Rams for Aaron Donald.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they
really draft
picks because they trade them all away. So,
I mean, exactly. We don't have any first-round draft picks ever.
2030. So, yeah, but the beauty of that is then Les Snead would make 5 trades out of those picks and get probably 2 starters. Yeah, so that is all the NFL news. I haven't seen anything else on the Twitter feed, so let's get into our NFL awards picks, starting off with Coach of the Year. So I will go first here. My guy, Matt Rule, man. 2nd season in Carolina. I think he's done a great job so far. And I've been high on the Panthers all offseason, man. I think they finally have a quarterback that can run the system. They have playmakers around them: Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, Terrace Marshall, CMC, Chuba Hubbard. My God, Dan Arnold at tight end. And their defense is young, but I think capable enough that they can get close to the playoffs. I think if they can do that, that he can win Coach of the Year. And he's plus 1,600 on DraftKings right now.
I like that. I think one of my players later on we'll talk about will it help solidify that. I went with Rodgers Salah for, I think is a funny reason is you look at the past 3 or 4 years, the coaches of the year have been first-year coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's got a great quarterback who we'll talk about later. Many of us have him for offensive rookie of the year. And I've already loved what he's doing culture-wise. And in the preseason, that's not first-team defenses, but we know how bad the Jets have been. And if they win 4, 5, 6 games, to me, you are the coach of the year. The only other coach that I told Rusty about last night was McDermott. How has he not already won Coach of the Year going to Buffalo and taking them?
We lost Mark.
I don't know what just happened to Mark. Well, Chris, I guess you can go ahead with your guy.
Yeah, so my pick was the Los Angeles Chargers head coach, Brandon Staley. I just think that the Chargers this year are taking a huge step forward. Obviously, in my preseason standings, whatever, I had the Chargers being the number 1 seed in the AFC. And I think that it's a possibility, depending on how the games shape up between them and the Chiefs. But obviously, like last year, Kevin Stefanski won because he completely turned around the Browns, got their first playoff win or playoff appearance in however many years on all that. And the Chargers are in a similar situation. They haven't been playoff relevant in I don't know how long, but it's been a while. And I think that I don't even think it'll take getting the first overall seed. I think as long as he can get them into the playoffs and have a solid winning record and all that, I think he's a solid candidate for it.
Yeah, Brandon Staley plus 1,000 on DraftKings right now. Mark.
Back. I don't know what happened. I was like in the middle of talking. And I was like, where'd everybody go? My twins, I was like, did they hit something? Oh, wait, they're sleeping right now.
But continue on Robert Saleh.
I already told you guys, I think it's kind of funny that 3 of the last 4 coaches of the year were first-year coaches. And that's one of the reasons I continued that. I do believe that I love what Matt Rule did last year. It was incredible that they let him do all defense or the year before draft. And you have Herbert, and when Nick Bosa's coming back and Derwin James, I think you can't go wrong with these 3 coaches. I went with somebody, and the Jets have been terrible, Chris, for years and years and years. Since Rex Ryan's 1-2 playoff. And I think changing the culture, and I think they drafted the correct quarterback. That's why I'm rolling with them.
Yeah, Robert Saleh plus 2,000 on DraftKings. And yeah, a lot of my picks for all the awards weren't mainstream. I picked guys who, one, I believed in,
Don't talk about Chase Young because I was going to.
and two, that I think actually have a chance regardless of what the odds are right now. So okay, let's go.
Not mainstream. You want
Mark,
to talk about
Mark
not
starting off.
mainstream? You
Comeback
want
player of the year.
to talk about not mainstream? If your coach is going to get coach of the year, it's going to be done with Mr. Sam Darnold. And I saw flashes, in my opinion, that make him a really good NFL quarterback. But I don't think he was in the right system. And so that's why I'm picking Sam Darnold. If you think Matt Rule's going to be coach of the year, he has to be led at the quarterback position. And that's why I'm picking Sam Darnold. It would be easy to get someone off injury like Saquon, like Christian McCaffrey, like Dak Prescott. But this is going to a new team, and he's going to lead the Carolina Panthers to the second best record in their division.
Sam Darnold plus 1,600. Talk about Dak, if you will, Chris.
Yeah, so I kind of took the easy way out here with Dak Prescott.
He's going to put up numbers.
Yeah, every year he seems to be at the top of the rankings for all the big categories for quarterbacks. And he was having a great season last year. In the first 4 or 5 games, however long he played, he was leading the league, and then he got hurt. So I think that now he's coming back. The offense is pretty much the same as it was last year. And yeah, I think he's poised for another big season. As long as the ankle can hold up and he doesn't get hurt again, I think he's poised for – I think he could even be in the MVP consideration.
Yeah, I don't discount that. I don't discount.
Yeah, so I think that, comeback player of the year, a big part of that usually is injury. And I get your case too for Darnold, but I just feel like injury is a big reason why a lot of players win the comeback player of the year, and Dak Prescott is one of the big names for that this year.
And that's even something that I asked Rusty. He's like, do you think it has to be after an injury? And he said, no. And we know the rules. You overcome something. But I think that's the media is anybody that's had an injury. And that's why I wanted to go different than you guys. Because I was leaning towards, if the Browns have another good year and Odell Beckham catches a lot of touchdowns, he could be comeback player of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went with CMC, dude. I think he's going to light it up again, especially with the improvement at quarterback. I think there's no reason why he can't. So
I think it would make Matt Rule coach of the year, just like I was stating, and he would be comeback player of the year.
Yeah, well, I think McCaffrey's going to be back to what he was pre-injury. I have no doubts about that. He's going to push for 1,000 like he did in his last healthy season 2 years ago. So, and Prescott is the favorite for comeback player of the year, 210 right now, plus 210. McCaffrey can get at plus 800. Let's go to offensive rookie of the year. Chris, you can start.
Yeah, so
Good marker on Zach Wilson.
Yeah, I had to go with my guy here, Zach Wilson. I just think the offensive rookie of the year, I feel like for the most part goes to the quarterback most of the time. And Zach Wilson I based my pick based on how they've performed so far in the preseason. And I think Zach Wilson had the most consistent, the best performance so far up to this point. And also, he's benefiting from being one of the few quarterbacks to start week 1. So, and yeah, Trevor Lawrence down there, number 1 overall pick, he's going to have a lot of eyes on him too. But I think it'll help that Zach Wilson's playing for New York. And New York is such a big media market. Everything he does, whether it's good or bad, will be highlighted. And I think that there's going to be a lot more ups than there will be downs this year for Zach Wilson.
Since we both agreed on who we picked with, I'm going to back you up on the New York media. I actually think that the Jets went out and made sure there was enough receivers around them.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, are you going to give him time in the pocket? And I think that he will perform in that, giving him time and receivers. One question that we know the quarterback in Jacksonville, Lawrence, is going to get, I don't think they did go out and get some playmakers, but I'm just not sold on them being competitive. And I think this is going to be a big year. And it goes back to everything is strategic, right? Robert Saleh wins Coach of the Year if Zach Wilson performs well. If he doesn't, then neither of these awards will go my way.
Mm-hmm.
I always say I want to pick 2 for everything. And in Rusty's defense, Pittsburgh has always done well getting a new back, but I don't like their offensive line. So, Rusty, let's talk about
Dude, I locked Najee Harrison
months ago.
a while ago.
Yep.
And what he showed in the preseason, I thought was enough to solidify my thoughts on that wager. Dude, he's going to be a beast. There isn't any competition for carries in Pittsburgh anymore. James Conner gone. Benny Snell most likely actually is going to get cut.
That's wild.
I hate freaking Jalen Samuels. He sucked in the preseason, so he might get cut too. Anthony McFarland is there. I can't remember who else they have, but he's going to get runs. He's going to get receptions out of the backfield.
The receptions is what I really think will help him. I think he's going to get a lot of receptions.
Yeah, and actually, one of the prop bet guys that I follow likes him to go over 44.5 receptions this year. So
before we move a slide, I want to give you a dark horse that no one is. I mean, maybe some people are thinking about, but it's all conducive to injury. I really do think Jalen Waddle could be a catalyst for this if he stays healthy. Because if Tua is going to progress in year 2, he's going to find him to be a really good target if he stays healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and we saw that connection preseason week 2 where they really lit it up together.
I'm just worried about his injuries, guys.
I think Devontae Smith has a good chance at it too, and Philadelphia being really the only number 1 receiver. So
Minshew to Devontae Smith.
But that's 2 Alabama connections there. Najee Harris plus 800 on DraftKings right now. Zach Wilson is plus 750, so just ahead of him. Lawrence is the favorite. Defensive Rookie of the Year. We all are on the Parsons.
We all agree? Oh, my gosh.
Yes, sir. Micah Parsons from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, went to Bishop McDevitt High School, Penn State in college. Opted out in 2020, so he's got to get back on the train. I've loved him watching Hard Knocks. He's a pretty good personality, and you can see how much he loves to play because when they had the episode of the Cowboys in the Hall of Fame game, Parsons got like two drives, and he was on the phone to Dan Quinn, and he's like, "You serious? Like that's it?" Like he's like, let me get one more. Let me get one more. And but yeah, dude, Parsons is gonna be a beast. I hate that he's on the Cowboys, but there really isn't that many contenders for defensive rookie of the year, I think.
Yeah, that's a big reason why I went with him, because I was trying to think of all the other guys, like the first round defensive players, and like there's the defensive ends that got drafted like at the end of the round by like the Saints and the Buccaneers and stuff, but I don't think either one of those guys are going to have a big year. And then there's the cornerbacks like J.C. Horn or what's the guy from Denver?
Surtain.
Yeah, Surtain. Thank you. But yeah, I just going through all those names, like you said, I don't think any of them are going to have as big of a year as Parsons will.
I went with Parsons because we all know the Cowboys defense is in need of someone in the middle and a leader.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that's from injuries or just their offense has had to produce so much to win ball games. And I think that I piggyback off what Rusty said, hearing that in the Hall of Fame game, he's hungry. But I will give you two dark horses. Not maybe one's a real dark horse. The other one is not. If you play behind Chase Young, you might have a really good rookie season. And if I'm saying his name right, Jasmine Davis. And then the second one would be Eric Stokes. I did not like what Green Bay did picking him as a UGA one, but he has performed really well in the preseason. And I think that he's hungry and people are going to pick on that secondary. So it's going to give him a lot of reps.
Yeah. Micah Parsons right now plus 600 on DraftKings. Offensive player of the year, we're all in line again.
Oh, gosh.
It was Alvin Kamara. I guess Chris is a Saints fan, so we'll go with Chris.
Yeah, so I just going through all the names on the list too, similar to the defense player. There's a lot more candidates, I should say, for offensive player of the year, but I just think that Alvin Kamara is one of the best two-way players in all of football. Obviously, we have Christian McCaffrey, but I don't know. I'm not 100% sold on him being able to return to form yet until I actually see him play and do all that. So, despite the change at quarterback and the change of style of play at quarterback, I still think that Alvin Kamara is going to get plenty of passes out on the outside or whatever, and he's still going to run the ball exceptionally well, like he already does. And yeah, I think, like I said, I just think that Alvin Kamara is the best overall running back in football.
Mark?
I'm going to tell you, if you lose Drew Brees, someone has to make up the ground. Does that make sense? Someone has to come in, especially when you don't know what Michael Thomas is doing, whether it's injury-wise or getting along with the organization. And he's that talented, if that makes sense. He can catch it, like you said, two ways. He can run it, and he's got to be the focal point. And that doesn't bother me if defenses are trying to stop him. I think he's that talented enough to help Jameis Winston or help Taysom Hill in a certain package. And we've seen what Todd Gurley is able to do, get creative. And that's why I picked him.
Yeah, before I say my piece on Kamara, just to go back, Coach of the Year, Chris's guy, Brandon Staley, is the favorite at plus 1,000. I already said Dak's the favorite comeback player, plus 210. Offensive Rookie of the Year, like I said, Trevor Lawrence, plus 350. And then Defensive Rookie of the Year, Micah Parsons is the favorite at plus 600. Now, Offensive Player of the Year for Kamara, dude, I mean, the Saints are falling apart. It's, Michael Thomas is out the first quarter of the season. Deontay Harris has a potential looming suspension that hasn't come down yet. They're really young at the receiver position. Who knows if Jameis is actually going to work out or not? There's one constant, though, and that's number 41. I mean, he's going to get the carries. It didn't matter that they had a guy like Latavius Murray there. They seem to work very well in tandem and both get their carries. And Kamara's a PPR machine out of the backfield. That's the scary thing, though, with Jameis at quarterback, is that Jameis doesn't throw to running backs very often. That was a Drew Brees special. But
maybe that makes him a better quarterback.
And fantasy-wise, dude, I know we're talking about actual awards, but fantasy-wise, the value that people are getting from Alvin Kamara right now is like pick number 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting some pretty good value, especially in fantasy too. He is plus 1,600. That's also where you're getting value in Kamara right now. Is at the sports books.
We all agreed on this, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
What if I throw you this question? Because when's the last time we've seen it, but we've seen running backs be devalued like in the draft. But they often win Offensive Player of the Year. Derrick Henry, Todd Gurley. If anyone believes Josh Allen is going to be the MVP, does Stephon Diggs win this award?
He has a shot.
Yeah.
And it would be a very dark horse because he's not on anyone's list.
Yeah, the weird thing is that Patrick Mahomes is the favorite on DraftKings to win Offensive Player of the Year at plus 700. I really don't understand that.
I mean, if he doesn't win MVP, he still is the Offensive Player of the Year often. I don't like the.
I don't know the last. I mean, I don't remember awards very well from year to year, but I don't know the last time we've had quarterback MVP, quarterback Offensive Player of the Year.
A long time.
It usually is a position player that gets Offensive Player of the Year.
Right. What I would try to go to way, I think this is through baseball, basketball, football, whatever sport you're playing. I don't necessarily agree with the moniker anymore that you're the most valuable player. Because the most valuable player could really be like Mike Trout, who often wins it, but they never make the playoffs in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Have like a Player of the Year award. Like you're outstanding. You're just incredible to watch. I think there's a distinct difference between being someone that is the most valuable, and that's what I would even say Alvin Kamara will be to the Saints, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He's like going to be the most valuable player to the Saints. They won't win 4 games if he gets injured.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually, it's Derrick Henry's actually tied with Mahomes for the favorite right now, plus 700. If you want to do it, Mark, Stephon's plus 2,000 right now. That's $10 to win 200.
I like that. I like that bet. I really like that.
Okay, defensive player of the year. We're back to being all independent. I'll start it off.
I that's the only reason I didn't, because you were picking him. But
Chase Young.
he's the best young player in the NFL.
He is on one of the best overall defenses in the NFL.
And he's got Riverboat Ron.
And I legitimately think, now I know I said this about the should have been defensive player of the year last year.
100%.
Aaron Donald did not deserve to win.
TJ Watt.
And that's why I didn't pick TJ this year, because I just didn't want to pick him 2 years in a row.
You said it all season. You said it all last season.
I think I'll say the same thing that I said about TJ last year, though. I legitimately think, especially with 17 games, Chase Young has a chance to break Michael Strahan's sack record. 22 and a half sacks. I don't think the issue with that is that they're playing a first place schedule. And I don't, let's see what their exact, I mean, the Chargers week 1, that could be 2 sacks. Their offensive line isn't the greatest. I mean, he's going to go up against a really good tackle in Brian Bulaga, but
at least 1 sack.
He gets the Giants twice. that might be 4 sacks.
The division that he plays in is probably going to be favorable, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys, all 3 of the lines in the division aren't the greatest on the outside anyways. I mean, I don't know which side Chase usually plays on, if he plays on the right or left, because the Eagles have one of the best right tackles in the league in Lane Johnson. Giants really don't have anyone. Nate Solder and Andrew Thomas aren't good. I don't know what else to say about them. And Tyron Smith is old and decrepit at left tackle for the Cowboys. So the Buffalo Bills, they have a pretty solid offensive line. But the Falcons, he probably won't get any sacks against the Saints, I got to say. Chiefs' offensive line's a lot better. The Packers, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a sack or 2 against them. Broncos, he's going to rip them. Bucks, he won't get any. Panthers, he could get a couple. Seahawks, he probably is going to be chasing Russell Wilson a lot. Raiders, I am sorry, Derek Carr. And then the rest of them are division games. So yeah, I think there's probably only 3, maybe 4 games that they play really, really good offensive lines. So Chase Young plus 850 right now. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, I wanted Chase Young, and I didn't because I figured he was your favorite, and I knew that we had Alvin Kamara, Micah Parsons. And so I was okay with that because these awards I really don't worry about picking them because it's preseason. But TJ Watt was every bit of the reason that the Pittsburgh Steelers started off 11-0 last year. Weren't they 11-0? Am I missing a game?
Yeah.
He is a beast, guys. He does it all. He drops back. He comes and rushes the quarterback. He's a run stuffer. And he's learned from the best in the game. And his brother may not even be on the radar for Defensive Player of the Year, but he's going to make Arizona a better team, in my opinion, even with his leadership. And so if you want your Steelers to be a playoff team again and not lose to the Browns, which was embarrassing in my opinion, then he's going to have to do it all again. And he lost, in my opinion. I did agree with you, being a huge Aaron Donald fan, should have really been Defensive Player of the Year last year, barring 1 or 2, 3, 4 weeks that he was injured. And so if he stays healthy in the season, why wouldn't he be the Defensive Player of the Year? If he's not, I do agree with you. He loses to Chase Young, which then backs up. If Chase Young doesn't win the Defensive Player of the Year, he's opened up holes for Chasman Davis in linebacker position to be Defensive Player, Rookie of the Year.
TJ Watt plus 800, just above Chase Young. Chris,
Yeah,
Aaron Donald.
Yeah, so again, I kind of went with the default guy here. Just because, well, it seems like whenever there's a close race in the Defensive Player of the Year, like it was last year, I'm not saying Aaron Donald deserved to win. I think TJ Watt should have won, as you guys both said. However, it seems like whenever there's a close race, they just by default give it to Aaron Donald. And again, not that Aaron Donald didn't deserve it either, because he had a great season as well. But yeah, he's been consistently a great defensive player since he's been in the league. Obviously, he's a 4-time winner of this award already. And he puts up the numbers, though. Like last year, he had 13.5 sacks. As a defensive tackle, that's a lot. And I mean, the Rams have a solid defense as it is, as do these other two guys that you guys both picked. All three of these guys are on solid defenses. The Rams might be the worst of the three. We don't really know for sure, but Aaron Donald himself can carry that entire defense. And in the division, I mean, Rusty, you were saying before about Young's schedule, but Donald, I mean, he plays against Russell Wilson twice a year. They have a terrible offensive line. He plays against the Cardinals, who I don't really think their offensive line is that great either. And then the possibly best offensive line in the division is the 49ers. But I don't know. I'm still not a believer in them, though, because they have such old players on that line. And I just think that Donald can overcome anybody on that line. So those 6 games, I think he can get probably 8 or 9 sacks just in those 6 games. And then, I mean, they didn't even win the division last year, right? So they don't have the first place schedule. And yeah, so they play the lesser competition, even though they still play high competition because they were second in the division and all that. But I mean, I don't know. All signs to me point to Aaron Donald just because of how dominant he's been and the fact that he's already won the award 4 times. So his name is always going to be in the conversation.
If they win the division, he deserves it.
Yeah.
No, because it's going to be all Matthew Stafford. But Chris, Aaron Donald tied as the favorite right now, plus 500. And the guy he's tied with is the only guy in the top 4
Xavier,
that the odds makers have right now that we haven't talked about. No, Xavier Howard's not even close. Miles Garrett is the only guy in the top 4.
That's a tough one. I mean, I could with Jadeven or Clowney, that could really start. And they were a playoff team last year. I was torn against Garrett, Howard, Watt, and Young.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of Chris's list. I know we haven't gotten all the way through yet, just MVP to go. And Chris had a lot of favorites on there.
But hey, I didn't even look at the betting odds though. I just off the top of my head.
I didn't either.
I didn't until I wanted to write them down, but I'm just Just saying.
Howard probably wasn't even on the bet, but if you're the Dolphins, I think
Plus 2,000.
Not a bad bet.
Before we get to our MVP bets, two things that I saw on the Twitter feed just getting updated here.
let's hear it.
The Cardinals corner Malcolm Butler, he is dealing with some personal issues and is now contemplating retirement. So could be a major blow to the Arizona secondary.
That would be big, especially with Patrick gone.
And then the other thing is we had another trade go down. The Jags, they sent corner Sidney Jones to the Seattle Seahawks.
For 6
No compensation given yet. But I think that's a good move for Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
We knew they needed some corners, and Sidney Jones has played pretty well in Jacksonville the last couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Okay. Now for the grand finale, y'all.
Let's talk about it. I hate this.
Drum roll. Okay.
So we're all divided. So there's not a third one.
You and Chris are off on your Josh Allen bandwagon. I don't care. I still love Josh Allen. He is still on my dynasty team until Chris offers me 5 first-round picks and Christian McCaffrey.
Can I go first?
I mean, I was already leading into Matthew Stafford, but if you want to go, that's fine. Cut my momentum.
Cut your momentum, because if you guys remember back to last season, week 1, 2, until the third season, I was like, Josh Allen has to show me. This is why I want to go first. He has to show me more. He has to do this. He did it all season long, and I was really critical of him. And I know it's only one game, but gosh darn, did he not look good this weekend?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the defense he has. You look at Stephon Diggs. I love McDermott as a coach. I think he was a mastermind that helped Carolina get to the Super Bowl. And I'm piggybacking off of what Rusty said. He's got a bet in for the Bills and Bucks. If that's true, he's got to be the MVP, guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I went with him. But I will say this. Hear me out. And that's why I don't like preseason. It's all talk. It's all fun and games. I don't think either one of these guys wins the MVP.
Chris, Josh Allen.
Yeah, so I went with Josh Allen because just last year he had one of the best breakout seasons like anybody's had. And I mean, if it weren't for Aaron Rodgers having a slightly better season, I think he would have been in strong consideration for the award. Obviously, there's still also Patrick Mahomes there as well, but Josh Allen, I just think he's been a key piece in turning around the Buffalo Bills. And again, there's the whole, what exactly is the criteria for MVP? Well, Josh Allen is the MVP of the Buffalo Bills. And yeah, he plays in a weak division, sure. But the Bills are still poised to have a big season. They, like I said, they still have the competition with Kansas City and all that, and that's presumably going to be the AFC Championship game. I think if he is able to take the team to the Super Bowl, not even win it, but if he's able to take the Bills to the Super Bowl, I think he's a lock for the award. And but I do have to say, though, I can totally see Josh Allen becoming the new Drew Brees and never winning the award, but always being in like the top 3 for the voting, but always being edged out by like Kyler Murray and Patrick Mahomes and even Lamar Jackson if he ever comes back to glory.
That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. Kyler is a far ways away.
If he wins the MVP, then we might see a different coach of the year than we all picked.
Mhm.
Just
So I went with a little bit longer of a shot. Josh Allen's plus 1,200, and that puts him in third place right now, behind Patrick Mahomes at plus 500 and Aaron Rodgers at plus 1,000. Who I was thinking of, Aaron Rodgers was highly thought of, but I'm going to keep my love for Matthew Stafford going through to the start of the season, anyways. Plus 1,800 right now. He is, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. He's tied with Dak Prescott and Justin Herbert for 7th right now in terms of odds.
that's terrible.
Yeah.
Not
Or no, they're tied for 8th. Tied for 8th.
not for you picking him, but he does have a legitimate shot.
Yeah, I think he is the prototypical dark horse candidate. And I think I picked him last year as my dark horse. I believe so anyways. But this year he's my real pick. And he's on a banging offense with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods. Now they have Sony Michel to go along with Darrell Henderson in the backfield. I don't believe in those guys, but that's because we're going to throw the ball around. Matt Stafford's going to push the 5,000-yard mark.
If he's healthy.
40 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. I think he's going to be pushing on those numbers this year with those guys. Deshaun Jackson stretching it deep if he plays more than 2 games. But if not, that's what we got 2-2-4 there. So love those guys. You got Higbee still.
I like it.
And yeah, the defenses in the division are pretty good, specifically San Francisco. Cardinals are getting better, but look at that. Malcolm Butler might be gone. And Seattle just brought in their starting corner for week 1 in a trade today. So.
I will say this before we go. If Dak Prescott plays every game and he's in that division, instead of comeback player of the year, he could be MVP.
Well,
or wins both. I don't see him winning.
If I wouldn't have been afraid of picking the same guy in 2 awards, I was going to write Christian McCaffrey in for comeback player of the year and offensive player of the year, but I didn't do that. So lock it in. Matthew Stafford plus 1,800 MVP in 2021. Okay, let's roll through the college football games this week. We have one on Wednesday and a bunch going on Thursday.
Dion, right?
So, no. Wrong JSU. Jackson State, not Jacksonville State.
My bad.
So the UAB Dragons heading to Jacksonville, Alabama to face the Gamecocks.
Kill them.
UAB's 14.5-point favorites. Over under is 48. This one's 7:30 on ESPN on Wednesday. It's actually the Montgomery kickoff. So I guess they won't be in Jacksonville. They're going to be playing in Montgomery, Alabama, at the Crampton Bowl. I don't know.
Wins that.
I have no clue who plays at the Crampton Bowl, but in Montgomery. But anyways, yeah, UAB should win it. But what I was talking to Mark about pre-show, I know I was wrong about Hawaii, y'all. I understand. But this is another double-digit dog that I really like. Zarek Cooper is back at quarterback. It looks like Josh Samuel is back at running back. If Uriah West is back at running back, and he is, and Trey Berry's not back at tight end, but that's okay. You got the running game back, though.
UAB could be a good team this year.
Zion Webb also back at quarterback, so not sure who is going to play quarterback for them. I would think it would be Zion Webb, actually. But yeah, him, Josh Samuel, Uriah West, the guys that we fell in love with in the spring for Jacksonville State, leading them all the way to the quarterfinals of the SCS playoffs. I mean, they're a good team, dude, and their defense is probably still going to be solid again. I'm saying take 14.5, plus 14.5 for the Gamecocks here. Chris just fell off a cliff, apparently.
He said, I had enough tonight.
He said, I don't like the 14.5 for Jacksonville State. And that's the thing, like, there's not that many people that are returning as far as the playmakers go for UAB. Like, the quarterback is, Bryson Lucero is back, but Spencer Brown is on the Panthers right now. Their leading receiver from last season is on the Niners. So it's like, I don't know who's going to throw the ball to.
Exactly.
That's why I like plus 14.5, dude.
Well position.
Plus 14.5 for the Cox. All right. Thursday, starting off.
Temple at Rutgers.
At Rutgers. I was very surprised that Rutgers was a double-digit favorite. It's actually 14 points now. Over-under is 52, 6:30 Eastern on Big Ten Network.
So it went up. It went up.
A half a point, yeah.
Well, we talked about the Nebraska game that I thought was kind of interesting is the Illini quarterback that came in was a transfer from Rutgers.
Well, do you know who just got announced as the Temple starting quarterback today, Mark?
I do not.
One University of Georgia transfer, DeJuan Mathis.
Let's see this game. Let's see this. That's that 1 year of extra eligibility.
Yeah, it looks like Tavon Ruley is going to be the guy that's has the most rushing yards for Temple coming back. Jaden Blue is the leading receiver coming back, as well as Randall Jones.
What's the kickoff time?
No clue. It's 6:30 Eastern.
This is going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, because Rutgers looks like they have Noah Vedral coming back. He's taking the extra year. Is Pacheco? Oh, dude, Isaiah Pacheco's back at running back. Let's go. Like to see that. And Bo Melton back at receiver. And Eric Cruikshank back as well at receiver. So looking at that, I wouldn't be surprised if Rutgers beats them pretty badly. Greg Schiano.
He's a really good defensive coordinator.
Yeah, and it's in Jersey, so sure. Let's roll with the Scarlet Knights. But we don't do picks on this show. We don't do picks until we do our Monday Night Football picks. So
I'm ready for some picks.
And Thursday Night Football. We'll have our first picks next Monday for the season opener. All right, let's roll to our first ranked team here, the Citadel, heading to number 22, Coastal Carolina. And
Coastal is
I think.
Go ahead.
I think the Citadel is lucky that. Well, there will be spreads out, but because it's Monday and this is a Thursday game, they don't have them yet. Because literally the UAB Jacksonville State one just came out today. So I think it's maybe 2 days before you get a spread. A lot of them don't carry spreads very early when it's FCS versus FBS. A lot of those lines are hard to find, so that's why there's not a line on this one. But like I said, the Citadel is probably lucky that there's not one because this is going to get ugly very, very quickly with Grayson McCall.
And I agree with you. The one thing that I would be humorous about, and maybe I shouldn't right now with hurricanes coming through, but this is going to be a wash. It's going to be a wave of coastal Carolina taking care of business. Guys, the quarterback position is solidified. And what they're doing at Coastal Carolina and Liberty are going to be fun teams to watch moving forward.
Dude, too bad we're not talking about Tulane game. You could have used the green wave.
Yeah. That's kind of messed up, but I'm not trying to be mean.
This one 7 p.m. ESPN Plus. Gotta have a subscription for that one.
Watch it.
Big one. Boise State at UCF. The Knights are a 5.5 point favorite. It's actually just 5 now. It went down a half.
I'm taking Boise.
I don't know. Dylan Gabriel is one of the better underrated quarterbacks in the country.
He is really good.
So I am probably sticking with the Knights.
They have more money, but no one is coming across from Idaho to get smashed in the face. Okay.
I think it's going to be a very close game. I would lean toward taking Boise State +5.
+5, they lose by a field goal. What do you think?
Yeah.
Last person to have the ball. Last person to have the ball.
Yeah, sounds good to me. I think you'd be interested in the over/under though, Mark. I think you want this to go over because it's set at 69. That is a lot of freaking points, dude.
I'd actually take the under on this one. What do you think? I don't think I think they have a good enough quarterback, but the one defense has to keep it under.
I don't think so. Both teams score in the 30s. It's going to be a shootout in Orlando.
What do you think? 38-34, 42-38? 42-30.
I mean, you can keep it 38-34.
38-34.
That gets you the cover and the win for UCF.
38
cover for Boise State and the win for UCF.
38-34.
I just wanted to check, make sure this was. Yeah, it is at the bounce house. Okay. I just want to make sure because it's kind of a bigger game, so I didn't know if it was at a neutral or not. So
both of these teams should be part of a different league moving forward. Just saying.
One of the top Mountain West versus one of the top American Conference. Another ranked team, Weber State, heading to face number 24, Utah. Again, FCS versus FBS, so no line on this one yet. But yeah, Utah should be good. Not really sure.
Between you and I could see Utah being a better Pac-12 team. So maybe even being better than number 24 to start the season. I don't know where that puts them. Does that put them at number 17, number 20 moving forward, number 14? Because Utah can't compete with the SEC teams right now, or even a Clemson or Notre Dame, in my opinion.
No. I don't even know who their quarterback is because Jake Bentley transferred again to South Alabama. I didn't know that happened, but
yeah. We talked about
So yeah, I have no clue who their quarterback is.
Are they like would they be a Minnesota type team? Like really good?
No, because I think Utah is year in and year out. They contend for the Pac-12 every year. It seems like they just fall short. They're always just like right there. They're second in their division all the time, but they just can't get over the hump.
Is it a year that USC is down and Oregon might be down on the quarterback position?
I don't think so because some people are saying that Oregon is going to beat Ohio State in week 2. But yeah, it is tough having. I actually don't know which is the tougher division in the Pac-12. But it's based off preseason rankings, it would be the South that Utah's in, with USC and Arizona State being the other 2 ranked teams. But
they're one of the harder teams for me to project, if that makes sense. Not to spend 2 hours on them. But Utah, I just don't know.
Forgot to say, Boise State, UCF, 7 o'clock, ESPN. This one here is 7:30, Pac-12 network.
NC State wins.
USF at NC State. The Wolfpack getting 18 points right now. Yeah, USF isn't good.
I'd probably go over on this one. What do you think?
The over-under is set at 59. I think it could. I mean, I think USF could score 2 at least.
Who's NC State's quarterback? Did he come back or did he leave?
Hawkman. No, Hawkman. Bailey Hawkman transferred to Mid-Tennessee. Devin Leary is back. The
only thing that worries me about NC State is we've been on this show before, and I've been a Tar Heel fan, is their first game is never good, and then they get better with the season. Does that make sense? But UCF is not good, so.
USF.
Sorry, USF. NC State's winning this game. I just don't know what it takes to score at.
I do really like, though, they have Zonovan Knight returning at running back too. So, yeah, I think USF though could help you on the over, getting 2 or possibly even 17 to 21 points, maybe. But NC State's defense is pretty decent. So,
yeah, NC State rolls. Move on.
7:30 ACC network.
This is kind of intriguing. In-state matchup.
East Carolina at Appalachian State. I was very surprised that it was only 10.5. I was like, why? I thought App State was going to destroy them. And this is the first Dukes Mayo Classic of the weekend.
He hasn't been good since Ruff and McNeil left, or they fired him. And what people don't know is he went to Oklahoma and he's bounced around. App State has been good. We know that they beat Michigan on a late field goal. It would all be quarterback play.
Holton Ahlers.
He's coming back as a lefty for ECU. And who is App State starting?
I do not think Zach Thomas is returning. No, Zach Thomas is finally gone.
And that's what I would say is this might be the most intriguing game. Even if App State wins, it might be by a touchdown.
They do have a senior guy, or at least he was the only other guy that threw a pass last year, threw 4 of them, completed 3. Jacob Westman. But again, it says he's a senior, so I don't know if that means he's a true senior, redshirt senior, 6th-year senior.
This would be a big win for ECU.
And maybe that's the issue. Maybe that is. But the thing is, Cameron Peoples is returning at the running back position.
You got to stop him.
Dietrich Harrington also back at running back. Thomas Hennigan is back at wideout. So they have the skill players. I think really what helps ECU, though, this is a neutral site. It's played at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte.
Yep.
So, like I said, it's the first of 2 Dukes Mayo Classics. It's so dumb they named the same thing.
People don't understand kind of I don't want to say history or rich history, but ECU has beat Carolina when I was in the stands 70-34 under Ruffin McNeil. They've beat Virginia Tech when I've been in attendance. They've beat some of these teams, and he didn't fit the new AD when I was living in Eastern Carolina, and they fired him, and they've kind of just came by the wayside. But they got James Madison, coach, who won a national championship at the FAA level, and he is bringing it, up to par. So this will be a big win for him.
That was funny. You just said the FAA level.
One away.
FCS.
It's anonymous. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Before we get to the next game, the over-under is also 59 for this one. I would probably go under on that one. Appalachian State's defense is
Really good. Yeah.
7:30 ESPNU.
56.
And before we go to the next game, though, Mark, you'll be happy to know the Sidney Jones trade compensation is in, and it is your favorite draft pick. It is a 2022 6th-round selection going back to Jacksonville.
I called it. Let's all trade our 6th-round picks, please.
It's just, you're just trading a Tom Brady,
That's it. That's all you have to find, a diamond in the rough, Rusty, when you're a GM.
Yeah, I'm gonna draft your sons.
When you make sure you call Kevin Costner and ask about what he did on draft day.
I want David goddamn Putney because I feel like it.
Make sure you have an analyst that says, the only guy that left the $20 bill, will you just tell me?
All right. Big one, Big Ten. Number 4, Ohio State heading to Minnesota. Now,
What do you think?
It is still 14 points. And I told you pre-show, I was like, dude, I was very shocked that it's only 14. I understand why, though. Breaking in a new quarterback, CJ Stroud for Ohio State. The thing is, they're returning a lot of other pieces, though. The receivers are back. Chris Olave, and I don't remember the other dude. They have another one, too.
Yeah, 2 All-American, and I will piggyback off on that because it's only fair. Olave is an All-American, so is the other wide receiver. I think Ohio State's position players put them right back in to number 2 or 3 team in the nation.
So they're bringing back Master Teague at running back with Trey Sermon off to the league. Garrett Wilson, that's the other dude at wideout. They're also bringing back Jeremy Ruckert at tight end. And I know a lot of people are very high on the 3rd receiver this year, Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm not even sure if I said that right, but it's Njigba and Jigba. I don't know.
I hate to say this, but until Alabama is dethroned, we all know they have to be number 1.
I think one thing that's interesting, though, they're breaking in a new kicker as well.
We've seen Alabama lose to LSU lose to Alabama with a terrible kicker, or vice versa.
Because Blake Hallbill is now on the Titans.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who the starter is because Dominic DeMacio, he kicked 3 field goals. He kicked 2 field goals last year, 1 for 2, 3 for 3 on extra points. And then they also have, I think it's Austin Seibert's younger brother, Jake Seibert, is there as well. He kicked 2 field goals. He was 1 for 2 as well, but 16 of 16 on extra points. So if it comes down to a field goal, which I don't think it will, I don't think Minnesota's that good that they can actually keep up with them. especially because they don't have Tanner Morgan anymore at quarterback. Actually, no, they do. They do. Never mind. They do. But my favorite guy on Minnesota that's in this game, Mohamed Ibrahim, their running back, should be all Big Ten this year. Obviously, Bateman is gone. They do have Chris Altman-Bell coming back, though. That is going to be their leading receiver, as well as Daniel Jackson.
I actually think this could be the first or second toughest test for Ohio State, if that makes sense. People are going to talk about Michigan rivalry. They're going to talk about Wisconsin. Well, we have Penn State. But with the quarterback coming back, PJ Fleck is a good coach. I still think Ohio State is about anywhere. They're number 4. And until you dethrone Alabama, we already know Alabama is the first team in the country. But having a new quarterback, it really could be Oklahoma, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, and then Georgia looking outside in. I don't like Georgia's position players. Talking about I love Ohio State's position players. Love them. So that's going to make your quarterback better.
Yeah, I just don't think Tanner Morgan did not play very well last year in a year that they expected him to play very well after a fantastic 2019. But 2020 just did not work out very well for Minnesota. But yeah, Ohio State covers. They beat Minnesota.
21 to 20.
Handily, they beat them. Over under is 65 in that game.
What do you think?
Over if Ohio State's defense sucks again this year. 8 p.m. on Fox. Bowling Green at Tennessee.
Who covers? That's all I want to know. Who covers?
The Vols are 35.5-point favorites.
There's no way. There's no way.
Like I was telling you on pre-show, dude, I was like, I know it's Bowling Green, but Tennessee lost so many transfers. Henry 2-0-2-0 on defense. Eric Gray at the running back position. They also lost. Did they lose a receiver too?
At least, dude, Bowling Green, if you just have money to play with, they might win this game. Tennessee is 2 years away from what athletic director Mike White wants to do with them.
Yeah, Ty Chandler, another running back, gone to Carolina. Jarrett Garantano, their quarterback last year, he's at Washington State. I already said Eric Gray, he's at Oklahoma. Josh Palmer's in the league.
Who put him at 34.5?
Velas Jones is back. So is Jalen Hyatt. So they do have their receivers back, minus Josh Palmer. The running back is going to be the issue. Their Jabari Small is going to be the leading rusher, it looks like, anyways. And then at quarterback, it's going to be Harrison Bailey. So, yeah. Like I said, it's Bowling Green. I know. But Matt McDonald isn't terrible at quarterback. Terrion Stewart is the running back. Unfortunately, Quentin Morris isn't there anymore. Their big tight end. Julian Ortega-Jones, he transferred to Texas State. So Noah Massey's not there. They might have a receiver issue, actually. Tyrone Broaden is probably their leading receiver. So maybe the Vols do cover. Who knows? I wouldn't touch this game at all. Over-under is 60. I'm going to go under because I don't think Bowling Green's going to score much.
This is one of the weird. I think Tennessee is going to be one of the most or least predictable. If I'm a bettor, I want to stay away from Tennessee all season long.
Could you imagine though? They lost this game. Oh my God.
We're-
I would not be sleeping on Thursday night if they lost this game, because I'd be so excited about talking about it on Friday.
We got to see. I mean, the fact that they're on a Thursday night game, in my opinion, foreshadows two things. What has happened to the program, and we have to go prime time on a Thursday to watch us.
Too bad it's not at Bowling Green. That would throw a wrench even more into the weirdness of the game.
And to get recruits to even watch this on a game day is the other thing.
Well, it's not on mainstream TV. It's fine. It's on 8:00 SEC Network
On a Thursday,
Okay, my favorite game. I am so excited.
see in
Oh
Western.
my God. UT Martin at Western Kentucky. And that's not why I'm excited, because of who's playing. I'm excited because of one person and one person only. And that is new Western Kentucky transfer quarterback, Bailey Zappi, transferred from Houston Baptist. Oh, my Lord. Dude, he is going to rail the Skyhawks in this one. The Hilltoppers are going to have a fun night, and I'm excited for Bailey Zappi to watch him in his first game at Western Kentucky. So, yeah.
One more game.
That one, 8 p.m. ESPN Plus. Last game here, Southern Utah. They are 0-1. They got destroyed by San Jose State. It's going to be even worse, guys, against number 25, Arizona State.
Quarterback McDaniels.
Hayden Daniels coming back this year for Herm Edwards' squad. Really, I mean, he's I don't want to say it because we're giving our Heisman picks on Friday. But Jaden Daniels is a very much a dark horse for the Heisman, I think. Anyways, the issue with his Heisman candidacy is lack of playmakers around him. But yeah, Jaden Daniels in himself, though, he could play 11v1 in this game and still win. More than likely.
He is really that good against a team like this. And moving forward, we just need to see how good he is against Pac-12 contenders.
Yeah, how do you like that? The last two games on our docket to preview here, we get the Skyhawks and the Thunderbirds.
I love great mascots. I really do.
That's some FCS team names for you.
We need to have a mascot bowl. FAA mascot bowl.
Okay, we've been on the show for 3.5 hours now, y'all. I am feeling very parched. I became parched about an hour in. But yeah. So next Monday is the show, dude. Next Monday, we do it for real, even though technically we're doing it for real on Friday because we're actually getting picks on Friday. But we will have our recaps of college football week 1. We'll break down all our picks. And we'll preview Cowboys at Bucks season opener next Thursday night. So yeah, I'm hyped. That's all I can really say.
I'm ready to pick some winners and compete.
Unlike you did last year, huh, Mark?
Hey, I won the NCAA challenge last year.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch Chris pick Campbell in week 1. We're always looking forward to that. So thank you all for watching. Don't forget to follow us on all our social media at FAA Podcast. on Instagram and Twitter and FAApodcast.com. Check out all our shows there and here on YouTube as well as Facebook if you choose. Thank you, Mark and Chris. I don't know